In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
I gotta get a witness. No!
Say, man, you got a joint? No, not on me, man.
I don't have facts to back this up.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
That's true.
Sometimes I cry.
Oh! Lick my butthole, he laughed.
From the strangest corners of the internet, here to bring you opinions of the world from an altered perspective. Here are your hosts, the Drunken Peasants.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Drunken Peasants Podcast, episode 794.
Do it live!
And we're going to watch the final presidential debate.
The intro was fire.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I didn't make it. I'm not going to take credit for that, but I
take credit. Who's going to call you on it? It's your show.
I didn't make it. It's a very highly viewed video on YouTube.
I like to refer to tonight's debate as
Amazing.
the second presidential debate.
Amazing. Yeah,
The second.
quick reminder, because we'll be locked into the debate most of the time, but if you want to help support the channel and you've got a Twitch Prime sub that you have not used yet, feel free to throw it our way. That would be great. And Asterios, you got your camera working.
I do. I look deep fried for some reason. I look like I'm on one of those old CDI games. I don't know why, but I love it.
It's
The Legend of Zelda
oversaturation.
ones?
Yes, exactly. Or Sewer Shark. One of those. I love it. I'm having a good. It's as oversaturated as I usually am when I start drinking. My pants, of course, I'm talking about. Can you guys hear me okay? How are my levels?
Your levels
You want me
are
louder?
fine. Yeah, you're fine.
I'll get louder just in case. Okay, check 1, 2, 3. Check,
Yeah.
check. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Yes.
How am I doing over here? Okay, good.
You're good.
I am so excited about this. These two old men are going to rip each other to shreds, and I'm going to be there to pick up all the pieces. Oh, this is going to be good. Is tonight the night that Joe swings on Donald? Are we going to see that tonight?
I doubt it. I hope so. I doubt it. I don't think he's got it in him. I think he's bumbling through everything. They were like,
you don't think an elderly Irish guy from Pennsylvania wants to start a fight?
I mean,
are you sure about that?
Maybe. What I really think is everybody was chanting for Bernie the last 8 years or for 6 years or whatever. They've been chanting they want Bernie, and the DNC heard them wrong and gave us Weekend at Bernie's. And they're propping up this fucking dead guy and claiming he could be president.
Oh, boo. Look, I want the New York Mets to be in every single World Series, but I'm still going to watch the World Series if it's the Pirates versus the Cardinals or some stupid shit. I mean, right now we're kind of getting the Denver Broncos versus the Denver Broncos, but
what's
hey,
it like,
it's still
though,
football.
What is it like to share a city with the superior team, the New York Yankees, though?
Terrible. Real bad. My whole life. It's like my whole life I've been going to Valley and having to watch the adventures of the kid in Bayside High.
I
get it. They got a robot.
Have you been to a Subway Series game when they play each other?
No, I've never been to a Subway because those are the tickets that go. I've been to plenty of Mets games in my life because it's surprisingly easy to get tickets to a New York Mets game.
Oh, dude, imagine how easy it is to get tickets to a Mariners game. The Mariners, I think the Mariners are the only active team that have never played in the World Series.
Are they the only one now?
Yeah, the only active team that has never played in a World Series ever.
Isn't that lovely?
Dude, I've lived here 4 years. I've seen them play probably like 12 times, and they've only won like twice.
We've had 2 good seasons, I think in 95 and 2001.
Ken Griffey Jr. There's a big Ken Griffey Jr. statue outside of T-Mobile Park.
After Griffey left in 2001, we had the best season of all time in baseball. And then 9/11 happened. And
here's Melania with her mask on.
They had to take a sabbatical. And when they came back to the playoffs, they'd lost their groove.
They were on strike? Was it a strike?
No, it was 9/11 happened.
Oh,
so they
okay,
shut down everything.
Big events and shit.
Yeah, but before 9/11, the Mariners were on fire. The best season ever.
Yeah, and it's weird because Ken Griffey Jr., he left Seattle to go to Cincinnati to play with his dad because they both were active pros at the same time.
Right.
And then they both came back over to Seattle when Ken Griffey Sr. ended his career in Seattle. It's interesting. So Ken Griffey Jr. played in Ohio for a little while.
Another interesting fact, Melania is back. The only woman in modern presidential history to not campaign for her husband. Recently, she got out of campaigning by being like, I'm still sick. I still have a cough. Coof, coof. Oopsie, gotta stay inside and watch TV all day with my hot, handsome son. And like, oh, they dragging Melania out to the debates, poor thing. Leave her alone. Let her hang out with the people.
She doesn't need to do all this stuff. You heard how bad she was complaining just about having to celebrate Christmas.
I know.
She's
the best of holidays.
Well, it's a top tier holiday. I wouldn't call it the best.
Okay. Let's do the tier rankings of the holidays real quick. Let's go S tier first. What are the S tier holidays?
Thanksgiving is S tier.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what? As someone who at one time, I don't drink so much anymore, but at one time I drank almost every day. I love St. Patrick's Day, but most people probably wouldn't make that a top tier holiday.
No, S tier. St. Pat. I think it's the big three. It's St. Patrick's Day. Oh, it's 4: Halloween, St. Patrick's Day, Christmas, and Thanksgiving. Although maybe Christmas is A tier because of all the suicides.
Well, there's not really enough.
I'd put Cinco de Mayo over Easter. It's funny that Americans celebrate Cinco de Mayo. It's just an excuse to drink and eat Mexican food, I guess.
Do they really celebrate Cinco de Mayo in Mexico even though? Is that?
Yeah, they do.
They do? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the Taco Bell of holidays.
No, they do. It commemorates like a battle. I think against German occupiers.
You know what one is a shit tier? Columbus Day.
Yeah,
we don't even get it off anymore. It's like, what's the point? It's like we should either he's a racist colonizer and therefore I should get the day off, or he's a hero and therefore I should get the day off. Now I hate Columbus and I'm not even getting anything out of it.
Right. and in Canada, Columbus Day is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Every year. Without fail. I wonder if there's a link that caused those days to be the same holiday. I don't know. But I would rather celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving than Columbus Day.
Well, I guess Columbus didn't discover Canada. So
he didn't discover any of this continent. He discovered islands in the Atlantic.
Canada's Thanksgiving to thank Columbus for discovering.
Columbus Day was the plight of many Italian Americans that wanted their folk hero to have his own day.
Oh,
that's what it was.
Let's go.
Columbus Day started because there was a lobby of Italian Americans that wanted Christopher Columbus, to have his own day.
For those of you subscribing right now, we are in level 5 of the hype train. That is awesome. If we hit the hype train, I will officially go out and vote. I will vote this year. I'm not going to vote unless we hit the hype train.
Good man. Get something for your fucking vote.
Hell
for a
yeah.
change. I like it.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my God. 57 seconds. Oh, what if one of them poops their pants? Oh, my God. I'm so excited. One of them might just die on stage. Like, Trump might have a rage aneurysm tonight. Did you see him almost claw Leslie Stahl's eyes out?
You know what? I think he'll just start yelling really loud when they mute him, so people have to hear him anyway.
I'm for Leif Erikson Day. I'm all for Leif Erikson Day.
Okay. I'm gonna say New Year's Eve is B or T tier. There's a lot of pressure on New Year's Eve. If you don't have someone to kiss when the ball drops, you feel like a loser.
Not anymore.
There's all these things. Wait, what do you got?
No. There's no more. Social distancing now. There's no more kissing on New Year's Eve.
No, I know. Thank God Dick Clark's dead, because if not, the coronavirus would find him so fast. Goodness gracious.
Thank God Dick Clark's dead.
Thank God Dick Clark's dead.
Right.
I said it.
Here we go.
Valentine's Day.
It's go
and
time,
Valentine's
guys.
Day are both the worst.
Okay.
The loneliest holiday.
Rejected, as Dana has reported.
Groundhog's Day for
kind
the
of
win.
Formal
Oh no,
debate
I think
that
Trump
you
is
really need
fashionably
to do
late
in order
again.
To navigate a tricky situation.
Trump got the
He has
the
had a
vid
couple
again?
of opportunities in the last week. A 60 Minutes interview, a town hall, to articulate his plan for dealing with the
Wow,
virus
all
and
these
his
subs.
plan
Thank
for
you,
4
thank
more
you,
years.
thank you for
He
all
has
the
struggled to
subs.
do that. Will
Wow.
that change tonight? I think
And
is one of the
listen
biggest
out
questions,
there,
because
kids.
he can
If your
talk about
parents
the
have
buying
Amazon
son all
Prime,
he
you
wants,
get a free
but a lot of
subscription.
Americans are
You
tuning
just
in to
gotta
find out how
go
their
to
lives are
Twitch and
actually
put
gonna
in the
get
Amazon
In fact, I
Prime
would say
info.
that not
You'll
only
get the
did he
sub.
struggle
You
in
give
the
it to
60
these
Minutes
two.
interview
Look at
and the
them.
town hall
They look
with Sinclair,
decrepit.
but he actually gave
These guys
opportunities to
need
Joe
money
Biden.
for
He said
clothes
things he
and
told,
food, for
Eric
God's
Bolling of
sakes.
Sinclair,
Look
you
at
know,
these
he's
two
asked
men.
him, "Would you
They're
do
on
it
the
if you
wrong
did?" He
side
said,
of
"Trump said
40.
not much."
Give him your sub.
And then he told Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes.
I'm not 40
that
yet.
He hopes the Supreme Court
I
overturns
said the wrong side of
Obamacare.
40.
Oh.
But actually, you're on the
Something
right
that
side
the
of 40.
administration
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
No, we don't want that.
Right.
Celebrate them
This is
being
a
on the
president
right
who
side
has
of
no
40.
shortage
Give
of
him your
advice,
sub.
Good advice, of good political advice for a typical candidate, or even for people, or for somebody like Donald Trump, who is anything but typical. People who know him try to coax him into the right direction, and it has not worked over and over again for whatever reason. Before
Someone
the
said
last
CNN
debate,
is fake
every
news.
time
I'm
he
not
says
even listening to
something
what
like
they're
going
saying. I'm
after,
just waiting for the
Anthony
debate to
Fauci,
start.
After the media.
Yeah,
you know,
mute this
pick your
bullshit. This is
area
boring.
where it's been a distraction.
It was supposed to start already.
We can unmute when Papa Diesel and the kids walk
And
out.
the kids, Papa
Yeah.
Diesel and the kids.
When Papa Diesel and the kids walk out.
I want them to
we'll-
come out and do like a James Brown entrance. You know what I mean?
Didn't you hear that Trump was maybe gonna try and do a Willy Wonka style reveal after COVID? It was in his plans to like come out like all sick and then go ta-da and do a backflip or something.
You can't do a backflip.
Well, he wanted to do something cute like that. He discussed
He was
it with
going
the
to
office.
reveal a Superman T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Underneath his
like
his
Sloth
dress.
in the Goonies.
The Goonies. Oh my God, that's nuts. I wish he would have done it. That would have been the 100% best meme. Baby Ruth. Damn it, that's good.
Holy
This
shit!
is
Who writes
Oh, no, what do you
season
got?
20
All right,
of
what do you got?
America?
I'm waiting. I'm wondering why this is taking so long. I see Jake Tapper. I tweeted with Jake Tapper back and forth when the whole Milo thing happened.
Well, I'm sure you both agreed that guy sucks. In 2016, before we muted these clowns, they're all saying like Trump's losing, Trump's got to make up ground, Trump's behind in the polls. It's like, do we not remember 2016? Everyone's writing this guy's epitaph. Do you guys think that's a good idea to count Donald Trump out?
No, not at all. It's a horrible idea.
No, I'm not counting him out. He could very
I'm saying
well
the
win.
media is. Not
All right,
Good
here we go.
evening from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm
Good
Kristen
evening.
Welker of NBC News,
You
and
like
I
her?
welcome you to the final 2020 presidential debate between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. It is conducted under health and safety
The
protocols
Commission.
And
designed
viewers
by
like
the
you.
Commission's health security advisor. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent.
Shut
No
the fuck
cheers,
up.
boos, or other interruptions, except right now as we welcome to the stage former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
Boo! 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 Boo!
Where's Trump's mask?
He doesn't wear a fucking mask. He does not.
And I do want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate will cover 6 major topics. At the beginning of each section, each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question. The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their turn to answer, and the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired. After that, both microphones will remain on, but on behalf of the voters, I'm going to ask you to please speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear every word of what you both have to say. And so with that, if you're ready, let's start. And we will begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first question is for you. The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So
Not
please
me,
be
I'm not one of
specific.
them.
How would you lead the country during this next
I'm fine.
stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost
Good job
any other
not
country.
smiling like the
And
Riddler,
we're fighting it,
Biden.
and we're
Way
fighting
to
it hard.
go.
There is a spike. There was a spike in
So
Florida.
far, he's
and
kept
it's
that
now
creepy
gone.
grin
There
off
was
his
a very big
face.
spike in Texas. It's now
Yeah,
gone.
he
There was a
kept
very
doing
big
like
spike
this
in
nervous
Arizona. It's
laugh
now
when
gone.
Trump was
And there
interrupting
were
him
some
last
spikes
time.
and surges in other places.
Yeah.
They will soon be
It
gone.
looked
We have a vaccine
deranged.
that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military
Operation
is going to
Warp
distribute the
Speed.
vaccine. I
Distributed
can
by
tell you
the
from
military.
personal
At
experience.
gunpoint.
that, I was in the hospital. I had it, and I got better. And I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people would say it was a cure. But I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight. And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune. More and more people are getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide
Can we get a
problem. This is
doctor to verify
worldwide
that for
problem.
everybody?
But
Is
I've
there
been
any doctor that's
congratulated
willing to
by
put the
heads of many
credibility on the
countries
line
on
They
what
also
we've
say
to
he
done.
say that
doesn't
Trump's
poop.
immune?
With the, if
He
you-
doesn't
if you
poop?
take a
He
look
doesn't
at what
poop.
we've done in
That's
terms of
someone else.
goggles
His
and
buddy's
masks
dad.
and
Yeah, the cool thing about
gowns
Trump
and
is he
everything else,
claims to
and
poop in gold
particular
toilets. So,
ventilators. We're
like,
now
you know he
making
takes
ventilators
dumps.
all over the
You know
world,
he takes
thousands
dumps.
and
He
thousands
doesn't
a
poop,
month,
he just gets pooped
distributing
on.
them all over the world.
That's
It
cool,
will
too.
go away, and as I say,
Are
we're
we
rounding
gonna
the
see
turn,
the
we're
P
rounding
tape
the
if
corner.
he
It's
loses?
going away.
Okay.
God, I
Vice
hope he
President
loses
Biden,
so
to
this
you,
P
how
tape
would you
comes
lead
out.
the country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially, anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America. We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day now, 1,000 deaths a day. And there are over 70,000 new cases per day. Compared to what's going on in
Those
Europe,
are big numbers,
as the
you
New
got
England
to
Medical
admit.
Journal said, they're
Big
starting from a
numbers.
very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate. The
Just a
expectation
couple
is we'll
weeks
have
ago, it was
another
50,000 a day. Now it's
200,000
70,000 a day. What the
Americans
fuck is happening?
dead
in
by
this
the
country?
time around the end of the year. If we just wore these masks, the president's own advisors have told him, we could save 100,000 lives. And we're
What
in a
if Trump just
circumstance
hit
where the
back like,
president thus far and still
I'm
has
keeping more
no
Americans
plan,
alive than you kept
no
kids alive.
comprehensive plan. What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses so they can be safe and give them the wherewithal, the financial resources to be able to do that. We're in a situation now where the New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
President Trump, I'd like to follow up with you in your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing Regeneron. You also said a vaccine will be coming within weeks.
Yes.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are two companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well.
But the military is going to distribute it, so we're all going to have to take it. We're all going to be on our knees with a syringe to our fucking face and a gun to our temple.
With you because this is new
If
information.
they put it in like a brownie sundae, I would take it. What form is it in? Can I get a death by chocolate vaccine?
For enough Americans to get vaccinated, and even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular that's the head of logistics, and this is a very easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it, know it, look at it, go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry,
He
we're
meant
going to end
Easter
this by
2021.
the summer. We're about to go into a dark
There are
winter.
a lot of Easters.
A dark winter.
Yeah, there's an
And
Easter
he has
every year.
no clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction, he says you have no
I don't think we're
plan.
going to have a dark winter at all. We're opening up our country. We've learned and studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it too soon. Now he's saying, oh, I should have, moved quicker. But he didn't move quicker. He was months behind me, many months behind me. And frankly, he ran the H1N1 swine flu, and it was a total disaster. Far
No,
less
it wasn't.
lethal,
They keep
but
saying that.
It was a total disaster.
Yes, it was. That's why I
Had that
couldn't go to
had
the
this
movies
kind
in
of
2016.
numbers,
Remember?
was
Remember all my
2009.
friends lost their
People would be
jobs
dead right
in
now. But it
2016.
was a far
I had
less
to
lethal
work
disease.
from home for the entirety of
Look,
2016.
his own
Remember?
person
I don't think
who
that
ran
happened.
for him, who,
Asterios,
as you
that's
know,
this
was
year.
his,
This was Trump.
Chief of staff.
Wait, what?
Said
Yeah.
It was catastrophic.
It's been a long
It was
year.
horrible.
Swine flu
We
was
didn't know
what,
we
like
were doing.
2009 though.
Now
right?
he
2009
comes
was
up and
swine
tells
flu,
us
yeah.
how to do this.
Oh, I don't
Also, everything that
remember.
he said about the way every single move that he said we should make.
That's what Asterios calls
that's
his
what we've
dark
done.
years.
We've done all of it, but he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My
Do
response
you
is
think
he is
Keemstar
xenophobic,
would
but
call
not because he shut down
H3H3
access
H1N1?
from China.
Has anyone
He did it
called
late after 40
H3H3 that
countries
yet?
had already done that.
H3N1?
H3N1.
Yeah, call him.
44
If you
people
called
that were in there
H3H3
in China trying to
H1N1,
get to
that's a good
Wuhan to
sig.
determine
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
know
good
a lot
thing.
about
the
those
source
guys.
was. What
I
did the
only know what
president
I
say
watched
in
on your
January?
show a couple
He
of
said
weeks
no.
ago.
He said this
I'm gonna-
is
They seem like
he's being
full of rotten
transparent.
eggs.
The president
I'm gonna
of China's
phone it
being
in.
transparent. We owe
Call
him a
the
debt of
audible. We're having
gratitude.
H3N1.
We have to thank him. And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about, don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump, your reaction?
I say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but he has this thing about living in a basement. People can't do that. By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that.
He's
I'd
doing
love
the
to put myself
smile.
in
He's doing the
basement or in
smile.
a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. I can't do that. And
Yes, you can. Yes,
meeting
you
I
literally
had-
can.
Every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families. Every meeting I
We've
had
had
to meet them.
presidents
I had
that
to.
were in
It would be
wheelchairs
horrible
and the
to have
public
canceled
didn't even know
everything.
it.
I said,
Okay.
this is dangerous.
Like,
and you catch it. And I caught it. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. Great doctors, great hospitals.
You don't have to like constantly
And now I
be
recovered.
around it in front of people to be
99.9
president.
of young people recover. 99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
And of course, the CDC has said young people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it. Vice President Biden, I want to talk broadly about strategy, though.
Can I respond to that?
30 seconds, please, and then I have a
30
question.
No, number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home who have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. That man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their, out of habit, where their wife or husband was, is gone. Learning to live with it. Come on. We're dying with it because he has never said, you said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now? What should they do about the danger? And you say, I take no responsibility.
Let me talk about your two.
Excuse me, I take full responsibility.
No, you
It's
fucking
not my
said
fault
I
that
take
it
no
came here.
responsibility.
It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that it came here either. It's China's fault. They kept
I
it
take
from
full
going into the
responsibility.
rest of
It's China's fault.
But they didn't keep it from coming out to the world,
that was great.
including Europe and ourselves.
Vice President Biden.
Fact is that
I take
when we
full
knew it was
responsibility.
coming, when
It's
it
Billy's
hit,
fault.
What happened? What did the president say? He said, don't worry. It's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm weather. Don't worry. Maybe inject bleach. He said he was kidding when he said that, but a lot of people thought he was serious. A whole range of things the president has said. Even today, he thinks we are in control. We're about to lose 200,000
Trump is
more
acting
people.
different because of the
President
polls,
Trump.
by the way.
Look, perhaps just to finish this, I was kidding on that, but just to finish this.
I was kidding. It was a
when
big
I
joke
closed,
during a pandemic.
He said, I shouldn't have closed.
He's doing the accordion.
And that went on for months. What Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco. But when I closed, he said, this is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic. I think he called me racist even. And because I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You
I didn't
certainly
say
did.
sugarcoat
You
Rosie,
certainly
and I
did.
I talked about his xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies to handling
He thought
this.
I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well,
That's obvious.
Do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President
No.
Biden? Okay. Let's talk about your different strategies toward dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists
good.
recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus?
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country. It's his ineptitude that caused the country to have to shut down in large part. Why businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap in his golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the neighborhood, but there are, look, you need standards. The
Come
standard
on.
is if you have a
Power
reproduction
through it,
rate in
Joe.
the community
Get that
that's
hamster
above a
running
certain
faster
level,
on the wheel.
Everybody says, slow up, more social distancing, do not open bars and do not open gymnasiums, do not open until you get this under control, under more control. But when you do open, give the people the capacity to be able to open and have the capacity to do it safely. For example, schools. Schools, they need a lot of money to open. They need to deal with ventilation systems. They need to deal with smaller classes, more teachers, more pods. And he's refused to support that money, or at least up to now.
Let's talk about schools. President
Well,
Trump,
I think we have to respond, if I might.
please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Look, all
See
he
how
does is talk
how much
about
more polite
shutdowns,
he's
but
being?
Forget about him. His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York. You look at what's going on in California. You look at Pennsylvania, North Carolina. Democrats all, they're shut down so tight, and they're dying. They're dying. And he supports
They're
all these people.
dying.
All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down, and we have to open our schools. And it's like, as an example, I have a young son. He also tested positive. By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just went away. Young people.
just
I guess it's
went
their
away.
immune system.
Let me follow up with you, President Trump. You've demanded schools open in person and insist they can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids, but also their teachers and families?
I want to open the schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small, but I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy. People are losing their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse,
and that's just in my casino.
We have to open our country.
Oh my God!
You know, I've said it often. The cure
these
cannot
guys.
be worse than the problem itself, and that's what's happening. And he wants to close down. He'll close down the country.
The cure cannot be worse
one
than the
person
problem
in our,
itself.
In our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Simply not true. We ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We ought to be able to safely open, but would they need resources to open? You need to be able to, for example, if you're going to open a business, have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected. You need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this. And that is not inconsistent with saying that what we're going to make sure that we can open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. So don't worry about it.
What, yikes!
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this. If you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive, and it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic.
Yes,
these
I
are
do it all the
businesses that are
time in
dying, Joe. You
restaurants
can't do that to people.
We have
You
to
just
do
can't.
it or
Take
we'll
a look
die.
at New York and what's happened to my
What are you gonna
wonderful
do?
city for
Look,
so many
everybody
years. I
could
loved
spend
it.
$2
It was
billion
vibrant.
on
It's
health
dying.
care.
Everyone's leaving
Cure
New York.
yourself.
Take
No
a
big
look
deal.
at what New York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying. And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States. And look at the states that are having such a spike in the coronavirus. They're the red states. They're the states
Plexiglass
in the
is
Midwest.
expensive.
They're the states in the upper Midwest.
Well,
That's where the spike is occurring.
the government can
significantly.
provide
but they're all
plexiglass.
Americans. They're all Americans. And what we have
spent
to do
trillions
is say,
of dollars on the
wear
CARES
these
Act,
masks,
can't send out
number
some
one.
fucking plexiglass?
Make sure we get the help that
Yeah,
the
that's what
businesses
Biden's
need.
not
that has
saying
money's
directly
already
enough.
been
He's like,
passed to do
he
that.
needs to say, like,
It's been out
government
there
needs
since
to
the
pay
beginning of the summer,
schools and
nothing's
businesses
happened.
to have the
President, New
equipment to
York
reopen
has
safely.
lost
Like,
more
he's
than
not connecting those
40,000
dots.
people, 11,000
You're right.
people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
when you
about-
say spike, take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania.
When you say spike, take a
where
look
they've
at what's
had it closed.
happening.
Take a look at what's happening with your friend in Michigan, where her husband's the only one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They're having spikes, and they've been closed, and they're getting killed financially. We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease. We have to protect our seniors. We have to protect our elderly. We have to protect especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will protect them. We have the best testing in the world by far. That's why we have so many cases.
Let me follow up with you before we move on to our next section. President Trump, this week you called Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's best-known infectious disease expert, quote, a disaster. You described him and other medical experts as, quote,
Fauci's
idiots.
a disaster.
If you're not listening to them, who are you
Unlike
listening
my
to?
presidency.
I'm listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony. But he did say, don't wear masks. He did say, as you know, this is not going to be a problem.
What's Biden looking
I think
at?
he's a Democrat.
He's
but
like
that's
looking
okay.
at the
He
ceiling.
said this is not going
I
to
think
be
he's
a
a
problem.
Democrat, but that's
We are
okay.
not gonna
I
have
was a
problem
Democrat
at
for
all.
most of my
when Joe
life.
says that, I said, Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm not knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew what this thing was. Nobody knew where it was coming from, what it was. We've learned a lot. But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also said, if you look back, exact words, here's his exact words. This is no problem. This is going to go away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes. He happens to be a good person.
Vice President Biden, your response quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
My response is
He's a
that
fucking
think
idiot.
about
He's
what
in
the
charge of
president knew
everything.
in January
But he's a
and
good
didn't tell the American
person.
people.
He's a good person.
He was told this was a serious virus that spread in the air, and it was much worse than the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded, that in fact he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic. He didn't want us. Americans don't panic. He panicked. But guess what? In the meantime, we found out in the New York Times the other day that, in fact, his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing. And a memo out of that meeting, not from his administration, but from some of the brokers, said sell short because we got to get moving. It's a dangerous problem.
Well, this is
I'm going
one
to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then we're
the
going
Wall
to
Street
move
one,
on.
I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it. You have raised a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made, Joe. I could raise so much more money. As president and as somebody that knows most of those people, I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in America. I would blow away every record. But I
could
don't
call
wanna do that
Mr. and
because
Mrs.
it
Wall
puts me in a
Street
bad
right
position.
now.
Excuse me,
And then
Mr.
you
Wall
bring up
Street.
Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street because you're the one that takes the money from Wall Street, not me. I could blow away your records that like you wouldn't believe. We don't need money. We have plenty of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able to.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on.
Don't tell me about Wall
Average
Street.
contribution, $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is national security. And I do want to start with the security of our elections and some breaking
Biden
news from
said
overnight.
average
Just
contribution,
last night, top
$43.
intelligence
That's the-
officials
the
confirmed
average
again that both
donation
Russia
that he
and
gets.
Iran
Yeah.
are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration
Democrats
information,
always
these officials
appeal to
say,
the middle
and
class.
Iran sent intimidating
People can
messages
afford to
to
send
Florida
$40.
voters.
He takes
This
the
question
train,
goes to you,
God
Mr.
darn
Vice
it.
President, what would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
I made it clear.
He's keeping Amtrak
I asked
in
everyone else
business.
to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price. And it's been overwhelmingly clear this election, I won't even get into the last one, this election, that Russia has been involved, China has been involved to some degree, and now we learn that Iran is involved. They will pay a price if I'm elected. They're interfering with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're interfering with American sovereignty. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think the president said anything to Putin about it. I don't think he's talking to them a lot. I don't think he said a word. I don't know why he hadn't said a word to Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he'd probably be more outspoken with regard to the Iranians. But the point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him that what is happening with his buddy, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that everything that's going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure
What
that
is he
I
even
do not
saying right
get
now?
elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them and they know me. I don't understand why this president is unwilling to take on Putin when he's actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan, when he's engaged in activities that are trying to destabilize all of NATO. I don't know why he doesn't do it, but it's worth asking the
Trump
question.
is such a
Why isn't
funny-looking
that being done?
motherfucker, I
Any country
swear.
interferes with us.
You can
will,
see
in
why he
fact,
hosted
pay
SNL
a
so many
price
times.
because they're affecting
He's got
our
some good
sovereignty.
faces.
President Trump, same question to you. Let me ask the
Yeah.
question. You're going to have 2 minutes to respond. For 2 elections in a row now, there has been substantial interference from foreign adversaries. What would you do in your next term to put an end to
He
this?
looks
2
like he's
minutes
just, like,
uninterrupted.
Let me
oozing out of
respond
his
to
suit.
the first part, as Joe answered. Joe got $3.5 million from Russia, and it came through Putin because he was very friendly with the former mayor of Moscow, and it was the mayor of Moscow's wife. And you got $3.5 million. Your family got $3.5 million, and you know, someday you're going to have to explain, why did you get 3.5? I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from Russia. Now, about your thing last night, I knew all about that. And
I don't get
through
money from Russia. I just get urine.
John Ratcliffe, who is fantastic, DNI, he said...
By the way, I don't actually
one thing
believe
that's
that.
Russia
common to both of
showered
them,
Biden with
they
gold.
both
I don't
want
actually
you to
believe in the
lose,
P-tape.
because there
It's
has
just
been
a-
The
nobody tougher
P-tape
than Russia.
exists. You gotta
Between
believe in
the
the
sanctions,
believe in it.
P-tape.
nobody tougher than me on Russia.
P-tape
the
is
sanctions,
PP-gate.
between all of what I've done with NATO. You know, I've got the NATO countries to put up an extra
believe in PP-gate.
$130 billion, going to $420 billion a year. That's to guard against Russia. I sold, while he was selling pillows and sheets, I sold tank busters to Ukraine. There has been nobody tougher on Russia than Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, they were so bad. They took over the submarine port.
What were the pillows and
You remember
sheets
that very
Biden was
well.
selling?
Yeah, wait a minute. Is Biden selling pillows and sheets?
Is Biden the My Free Pillow guy or whatever?
The My Pillow guy?
The My Pillow
No,
guy?
that's Trump's dude.
But you were getting a lot of money from Russia. They were paying you a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today, it's even worse. All of the emails, the horrible emails of the kind of money that you were raking in, you and your
Yes.
I don't know that I trust this
And Joe,
guy's
you were
pillows and
vice
sheets.
president.
They
when
feel
some of
like
this was
sandpaper,
happening,
basically.
and it should have never happened.
They
And
smell
I
like a
think you
Werther's
owe an
original and
explanation to the
aspartame.
American people.
I don't want these
Why
guys
is it?
sheets.
Somebody just had a news conference a little while ago who was essentially supposed to work with you and your family, but what he said was damning. And regardless of me, I think you have to clean it up and talk to the American people. Maybe you can do it right now.
Maybe you could do it right
Vice
now.
President Biden, you may respond. 30
straight
seconds.
here.
And then I do want to follow up
They're
on the
muted
election
while the
security.
other
I have
person's
not
talking
taken
every
a penny
time.
from
Yeah.
any foreign source ever in my life. We learned that this president paid
got a
50
Chinese
times the
bank
tax
account.
in China, has a secret bank account with China, does business in China, and in fact is talking about me taking money.
China.
I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever, ever. Number one. Number two, this is a president, I have released all of my tax returns, 22 years. Go look at them. 22 years of my tax return. You have not released a single solitary year of your tax return. What are you hiding? Why are you unwilling? The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country.
Wow.
All around the world. And China's
Today we
building a
found
new
out
road
that
to a
Trump
new
has paid
a golf course you have
$185,000 worth
overseas.
of
So
income
what's going
taxes
on
in
here?
China,
Release
and
your
only
tax return or stop
750
talking
in
about
America.
corruption.
Really?
President Trump, your
So,
response.
First of
yes.
all,
Oh my
Today
God.
we found out, or was yesterday we found out about
underwrote it.
Trump's
I'm gonna
Chinese
release
bank
them as
account.
soon
That's
as we can
amazing.
do it.
He says he's
They
gonna
show
release
how
them soon.
Successful, how great this
He's been
company
saying
is,
that
but
for
much
fucking
more important
5
than
years.
that, people were saying
After I'm reelected and I don't have to
$750.
worry about being
I asked
reelected
them
again.
a week ago. I said,
And then I
"What
can
did
pardon
pay?"
myself.
They said, "Sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars." I prepaid my tax. Tens over the last number of years. Tens of millions of dollars I prepaid.
Wait, are we allowed to say
they
things
think
that we
it's an
can't
estimate.
prove?
They think I
Because
have to pay
I
tax.
paid $1 billion
I already
in
prepaid it.
taxes
Nobody told me
prepaid.
that.
Yeah.
Nobody told you that. Excuse me.
I can't
And it
show
wasn't
you the
written whenever
papers.
they write this.
There's
They
an
keep talking
audit
about
or something, but
$750, which I think is a filing fee.
And I have an
But let me
igloo
just tell
for
you,
sale.
I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in taxes.
Millions.
Number one. Number two, I don't make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make
You
money
do.
from
You
Russia.
do.
You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave
Donald
you.
Trump
They
doesn't
even
make
have a
money
statement
from Russia. He
that
said Russia
we have to
didn't
give
want to
10%
build Trump
to
Tower
the
in
big
Moscow.
man. You're the big man, I
He
think.
tried to
I don't know.
build that
Maybe you're not.
forever.
But you're the
And they
big
were
man, I
like,
think.
that's
Your
going
son
to make
said we
the
have to give
Tetris game
10%
look
to the
weird.
big man.
That with your
Joe,
big,
what's that all
weird
about?
gold
It's
piece
terrible.
All
on
right,
the
gentlemen,
cover
I
of
want to
the
ask you
Tetris
both
game.
some questions
I have
about
to
all of
respond
this,
to
but I'm going to let you both respond very quickly. You just said you spoke to your accountant
Yes.
about potentially releasing your taxes. Did he tell you when you can release them? Do you
As
have
soon
a
as the audit is
deadline for
finished.
when you're going to release them
I
to the
get
American
treated
people?
worse than the Tea Party got treated.
Worse
Because I have
than
a
the
lot
Tea
of people
Party.
in there, deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly. We made a deal; it was all settled until I decided to run
he
for
talking about
president.
the Boston
I get
Tea
treated
Party?
very badly by the IRS.
No,
very unfairly.
I wish.
But we had a deal all done. As soon
Those
as
guys
we're
probably
completed
didn't pay
with
any
the deal,
taxes
I
on
want to
that
release
tea.
it.
They wait.
But I have
I
paid
don't like how much
millions and
tea they
millions
wasted,
of
by the
dollars,
way,
and
Billy.
it's
I
worse than
get it.
paying.
It's fun
I
to
paid
dress
in
up like a
advance. It's
Native
called
American
prepaying your
and
taxes.
throw
I
a bunch
paid
of
in
people's
I want
property
to
in
ask
the
you
river.
both about
That was probably
questions
some pretty
regarding
good
your
tea.
potential foreign
Just got
entanglements and
wasted.
questions that have been raised
love
to give
tea.
you both a chance
Some
to
point-
talk
If
about
somebody
this more
threw
broadly.
a bunch of
Respond very
Kool-Aid
quickly,
in the
and then I'll get to
river,
my question.
I would cry
Why
like
did
that
he's been
Native
saying this for
American
4
did in that
years?
Texas littering
Show
act.
us.
They can't
Just
do that.
Show us. Stop playing
I know.
around.
Oh,
You've been
yeah.
saying for 4
Oh,
years
no.
you're gonna reduce
Don't
your
waste
taxes.
the Kool-Aid.
Nobody knows.
Tea
that.
is the
Because what
Kool-Aid
they
of the
do know
1700s.
is you're not paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he said what he paid, he said, I only pay that little because I'm smart. I know how to game the system. Come on. Come on, folks.
So,
President Trump.
So
and then
I
wanna
am
get to two
smart.
questions to
He
both
is
of you.
right about that.
I was put through a phony witch hunt for 3 years. It started before I even got elected. They spied on my campaign. No president should ever have to go through what I went through. Let me just say this.
Hashtag me
Mueller
too.
And 18 angry Democrats and FBI agents all over the place spent $48 million. They went through everything I had, including my tax returns, and they found absolutely no collusion and nothing wrong. 48 million. I guarantee you, if I spent 1 million on you, Joe, I could find plenty wrong. Because the kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken, I mean, your brother made money in Iraq. Millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they say you get some of it, and you do live very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
All right, gentlemen, let me just ask some questions about all of this broadly. Vice President Biden, there have been questions about the work your son has done in China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
Nothing was unethical. Here's what the deal. With regard to Ukraine, we had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned of a Burisma, a company, that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said, I did my job impeccably. I carried out U.S. policy. Not one single solitary thing was out of line. Not a single thing, number one. Number two, the guy who got in trouble in Ukraine was this guy trying to bribe the Ukrainian government to say something negative about me.
Oh, so they asked about
which
it.
They would not
that was
do,
one of the questions?
Did not do, because it never, ever happened.
Well, the questions are kind of irrelevant at this point. They're just talking about whatever they want.
This thing about, what are you talking about? China. I have not had, the only guy who made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
President Trump, let me ask my question to you.
Could I just one thing?
Very quickly.
His son didn't have a job for a long time, was sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best reputation in the world.
I won't get into it. Didn't he bring it up last time?
Yes, and he's also getting into it right now.
And they gave
I
him
won't
$3
get
million
into it.
upfront
Now,
payment.
I won't get into it in this phrase. However, in my next phrase, I will.
No basis for that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
Okay, President Trump, this is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China. So how can voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts, and they're all listed, and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business. The bank account you're referring to,
found out
which
about
is,
his Chinese bank account because someone
listed.
leaked his
The bank
financials to
account
the New
was
York
in
Times. It's not like we had a piece of
2013.
paper that
That's
talked
when it
about
was.
his
It was
fucking
closed in
Shanghai
2015,
checkbook
I
4
believe.
years ago.
And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided
like
I'm
millions
not
of
gonna do
other
it.
people. There's
Didn't like it.
millions
I
of people that
decided
want
not
to do
it.
deals in China.
Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president, let alone became president.
See, the thing
Big
is, we
difference.
don't know
He is the
if
vice
he did or
president of
not.
the United
Because
States,
the only reason we
and
know
his son,
about this
his
bank account
brother,
at all is
and his
because
other
someone
brother
leaked it.
are
So it's
getting
like,
rich.
he
They're
can
like a
say whatever the hell
vacuum
he
cleaner. They're
wants. Like,
sucked
Okay,
fucking prove
President
it.
Trump, thank you. We do need to move on. I do want to ask you, Vice President Biden, about China. Let's talk about China more broadly. There have, of course, President Trump has said that they should pay for not being fully transparent in regards to the coronavirus. If you were president, would you make China pay? And please be specific. What would that look like?
What I'd make China do is play by the international rules, not like he has done. He has caused the deficit of China to go up, not down, with China, up, not down. We are making sure that in order to do business in China, you have to give all your intellectual property.
like
you have to have a partner.
I feel like
in China
Joe's
with
struggling a
51%.
little bit.
We would not do that at
Yeah.
all, number one.
Like,
number two,
the only
we're in a
reason we didn't
situation
see him
where
kind of struggle
China
last
would
time
have
is
to
because
play by the rules
Trump was
internationally
so
as well.
fucking far up
When
his
I met
ass.
with
He
Xi,
was like Frank
and,
Oz
and,
inside
when
Miss
I was still
Piggy.
vice president,
Like,
he
when
said,
you
we're
let the
setting
guy
up
talk, you realize, yeah,
identification zones in the South China
74
Sea. You
years
can't fly
old.
through them.
He's,
I said, we're going to fly through them.
he's
We just
old.
flew B-52, B-1 bombers through it. We're not going to pay attention. They have to play by the rules. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends, all of our allies. We make up only...
Joe Biden is actually 77
of the world's economy.
Oh my God!
And on November 20th of this year, he'll be 78.
You play by them, or you're going to pay the price for not paying by them economically.
Well, he looks
That's the way I will run it,
79.
and that's what we did.
You gotta give it to him.
Tariffs and a range of
That
other things when we
silver
were
fox.
president and vice president.
That
All right, let's talk about North Korea.
dead by the side of the road, silver. That silver fox that got hit by a truck.
After spending 10 minutes
He's
in
totally
office and being
flattened.
Air Force Two, number one. Number two, there's a very strong email talking about your family wanting to make $10 million a year for introductions.
President Trump, on China policy, though, what
No, but wait a
specifically are
minute.
you going to do? What specifically are you going to do to make China pay? You've said you're going
First
to
of
make
all,
them pay.
China is paying. They're paying billions and billions of dollars. I
Billions
just
and
gave
billions.
$28 billion.
New sanctions?
I just gave $28 billion to our farmers. because
Taxpayers'
China,
money.
Yeah, exactly.
Taxpayers' money didn't come from
yeah,
China.
you know who the taxpayer is? It's called China.
China.
Not
paid
true.
$28 billion, and you know what they did to pay it, Joe? They devalued their currency, and they also paid up. And you know who got the money? Our farmers, our great farmers, because they were targeted. You never charged them anything.
I don't know
Also,
that they would
I
devalue
charged
their
them
entire
25%
currency over
on
$28
dumped
billion.
steel Because they were killing our
It
steel
seems like
industry.
a,
We were not going to have a
that's
steel
like a
industry.
Okay.
that's like a
And now we
drop
have a
of
steel
piss
industry.
in
Vice
a
President Biden,
thimble
your
of
response,
piss
Our
for the
response is
Chinese
what?
economy.
This isn't
The
about-
Chinese economy is
there's a
growing at
reason why
almost
he's
5%
bringing up all this
GDP this
malarkey.
quarter.
There's a reason for it. He doesn't want to talk about the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family. And your family's hurting badly. If you're making less than, if you're a middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning deciding, well, we can't get new tires, they're bald because we have to wait another month or so. Or are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? Or who's going to tell her she can't go back to community college? They're the decisions you're making in the middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. They're in trouble. We should be talking about your families, but that's the last thing he wants to talk about.
I want
That is a
to talk
typical
about
statement.
North Korea.
Excuse me, just
I do
for
want
1
to turn
second,
to
please.
10 seconds, Mr. President.
That's
10
a
seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing, and then he looks, the family, around the table, everything. Just a typical politician when I see that.
Let's talk
I'm
about
not
North
a typical
Korea now.
politician.
Okay,
That's why I got elected. Let's
talk
get off the subject
That's
of China.
why I got
Let's talk
elected.
around sitting
That's why
around
our
the
country's on
table.
fire.
He's
We're
steamrolling
going to talk
now.
about North Korea
Trump
now.
is?
President Trump has met with North Korea.
Because she's
leader
trying to
Kim
get him to
Jong-un
shut up, and he's
3
like,
times.
wait.
You've talked about your beautiful letters with him. You've touted the fact that there hasn't been a war or a long-range missile test, and yet North Korea recently rolled out its biggest ever intercontinental ballistic missile and continues to develop its nuclear arsenal. Do you
That's
see
part of
that
a
as a
deal I made
betrayal
with
of
Kim
the
Jong-un?
relationship you forged? Just 30 seconds here because we need to
I'd
get
let
on
him
to the
make
next.
So
an
when I met with
interplanetary
Barack
missile as long as he
Obama,
promised
we
not
sat
to
in
use
the
it on
White
me.
House. Right at the beginning, had a great conversation. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was well over an hour. He said the biggest problem we have with North Korea. He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess what? It would be a nuclear war, and he does have plenty of nuclear capability. In the meantime, I have a very good relationship with him. Different kind of a guy, but he probably thinks the same thing about me. We have a different kind of a relationship. We have a very good relationship, and there's no war. And you know, about 2 months ago, he broke into a certain area. They said, oh, there's going to be trouble. I said, no, they're not, because he's not going to do that. And I was right. Look, instead of being in a war where millions of people, Seoul, you know, is 25 miles away, millions and millions, 32 million people in Seoul, millions of people would be dead right now.
President
we
Trump,
don't have
that's
a war,
30
and
seconds.
I have a good
Thank
relationship.
you. Vice President Biden, to you. North Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under the Obama
Trump is not
administration.
happy.
Why do you think you would be able to bring
He's looking at her like,
yeah,
this
look at him.
persistent threat right
Because
now?
I
You're
made
right.
it clear, which we were making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal because here's the I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration, when I went to China, that they said, why are you
Mushmouth
moving your
over
missile
here.
defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you continuing to do military maneuvers with South Korea? I said, because North Korea is a problem, and we're going to continue to do it so we can control them. We're going to make sure we can control them and make sure they cannot hurt us. And so if you want to do something about it, step up and help. If not, it's going to continue. What has he done? He's legitimized North Korea. He's talked about his good buddy, who's a thug,
Ooh.
and he talks about how we're
That's a
better
word
off,
that
and they
people don't
have
like
much
being
more
thrown
capable
around.
missiles,
Right.
able to reach U.S. territory much more easily
Do you
than they ever
think-
did before.
Let me follow up with you.
Do you think they were
Vice
told to
President
wear
Biden.
the
You've
blue
said
and the
you
red
wouldn't meet with
ties
Kim
according
Jong-un
to their
without
party colors?
Don't they
preconditions. Are there
always do
any
that, though?
conditions
Do they?
under which
Yeah,
you
that's
would
just
meet
been
with
happening for
On the
decades
condition that he
now.
would agree
Interesting.
that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity to get that the Korean Peninsula should be nuclear-free zone.
All right, let's move on to American
Wait a
families.
second.
They tried
Very
to
quickly,
meet
What's a
10 seconds.
peninsula?
They tried to meet with him. He wouldn't do it. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like him.
Obama.
He wouldn't do it.
Okay, I
know
gotta
for
give him a
fact they
chance to
tried.
respond to that
He
before we
wouldn't
move
do
on.
it.
You
And
know
that's
what?
For a
okay.
fact.
You know what? North Korea, we're not in a war. We have a good relationship. You know, people don't understand. Having a good
President
relationship
Trump,
with
we have
leaders
to
of
move
other
on, 'cause
countries
we have
is
a lot
a
of
good thing.
we have a lot of questions to get
Yes.
to.
I mean-
Your
That's like
response.
saying we had a good relationship with Hitler before he, in fact, invaded Europe, the rest of Europe. Come on.
The rest of
The
Europe.
reason he
Damn
would
it.
not meet with President Obama is because President Obama
He
said,
went there.
He
What's that
invoked
called?
Hitler.
Yeah, what do they call that?
We're
Rule.
not
Brian's
going to
Law or
we're
something?
gonna
Godwin's
continue to
Law.
put
Godwin's
stronger and
Law,
stronger
okay.
sanctions on you. That's
We had a
why
good
he wouldn't
relationship
meet
with
us.
Hitler.
All right,
And
let's
it
Well,
didn't
to be
happen.
fair,
Let's move on and
we
talk
thought
about
he was
American
Charlie
families.
Chaplin the entire
President
time.
Trump. Okay, we do
They
need to
left
move on.
me a mess. North Korea was a mess.
We
and
need
in fact,
to
if
move on
you
so that
remember
we
the
can
first
get to
2
all
or
of
3
our
months,
questions tonight,
there was a
President
very
Trump.
dangerous period in my first 3 months before we sort of worked things out a little bit. There
Back
was a
when he
very
was still the
They
Rocket Man.
left us a mess, and Obama would be, I think, the first to say it was the single biggest problem he thought that our country had.
Okay, let's move on to American families and the economy. One of the issues that's most important to them is health care, as you both know. Today, there was a key vote on a new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, and health care is at the center of her confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. If the Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. First of all, I've already done something that nobody thought was
Accordion.
possible. Through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate.
Have you ever seen the
That was
video
worst
where they put accordion
part
in his
of
hands and it
Obamacare.
makes
I
a
haven't
sound
seen
every
it.
time he
The
moves?
individual
so
mandate
funny.
where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance. I terminated.
He
It's
does it.
gone. Now it's
He
in
plays
court
the fucking
because
accordion.
Obamacare is no good. But then I made a decision: run it as well as you can to my people, great people. Run it as well as you can. I could have gone the other route and made everybody very unhappy. They ran it. Premiums
Wow.
are down, everything's
Hey,
down.
thanks
Here's the
so much
problem.
for not
No matter
ruining
how
poor
well you
people's
run
health
it's
care.
no good.
You
What
definitely
we'd
get
like to
credit
do
for
is
not running
terminate
someone
it.
else's
We have the
program
individual
into
mandate
the ground.
done. I don't know that it's going to work. If we don't win, we will have to run it, and we'll have
Have
Obamacare,
every
but it'll be
baby
better
at
run.
Denny's.
But it no
Just
longer
running
is
the Denny's
Obamacare,
bread,
because without the
baby after
individual
baby,
mandate,
but I
it's
don't.
much different.
Could, but I
Pre-existing
don't.
conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better health care, much better, will always protect people with pre-existing. So I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful health care.
Beautiful,
The Democrats will do it because there'll be
magnificent.
tremendous
Brand new
pressure on them,
healthcare
and we
plan
might even have the House by that
before
time.
you
And I
destroy
think we're going to win
Obamacare,
the
right?
House, okay?
Like,
You'll see,
it
but I
is
think we're going to win the
possible
House.
to do
But
two
come up
things
with a
at
better
once.
healthcare,
You've been
always
president for
protecting
3.5
people with
years.
pre-existing conditions.
The
And one thing very
Republicans have
important,
been running
we have
against
180
Obamacare
million
for
people out
10.
there
Like,
that have great private
why
health
not
care. Far
slide
more
that
than we're talking about with
awesome healthcare
Obamacare.
in,
Joe Biden
and then
is going
slide
to
some
terminate
of
all
like,
of those
how
policies.
about like a
These are people
seamless
that
transition
love
of
their
power
healthcare.
for your
People
boy
that have
on
been
New York
successful,
Obamacare, huh?
middle-income
It's not
people,
like we're having a
been
medical
successful.
crisis
They
right
have
now or anything.
180 million
It's not
plans,
like-
180
it's not like
million
millions of
people,
have a
families.
new pre-existing
Under what he wants to do, which will basically be socialized medicine, he won't even have a choice. They want to terminate 180 million plans. We have done an incredible job on health care, and we're going to do even better.
You know where I got this mask
President
from?
Biden, yes, this is for
My
you.
underwear
Your
drawer?
healthcare plan calls
Mack
for
Weldon.
building on Obamacare. So
This
my
is a
question
Mack
is, what is your
Weldon
plan
mask.
if
It's a
the
nice
law is
mask.
ruled
Our
unconstitutional
sponsor,
by the
Mack
Supreme
Weldon.
Court? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Makes masks.
What I'm going to do is
Mask
pass
Weldon over here?
Obamacare with a public option. It'll become Biden care. The public option is an option that says that if you, in fact, do not have the wherewithal to be, if you qualify
I like
for
this
Medicaid
idea that he's
and
about
you
to
do
say.
not have the wherewithal, then your state to
almost
get
had a public
Medicaid, you
option the first
automatically
election time,
enroll,
except Joe
providing
Lieberman
competition
fucked us.
for insurance companies.
Democrat,
That's
by
what's
the
gonna
way.
happen. Secondly, we're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices by making sure that there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies. Thirdly, the idea that I want to eliminate private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why I didn't. Not one single person with private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose they wanted to go to something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a situation that we actually protect pre-existing. There's no way he can protect pre-existing conditions. None. Zero. You can't do it in the ether.
I feel like
He's been
Cobra
talking
Commander.
about this for a long
Yeah,
time.
COVID Commander.
There is no,
COVID
he's not going to
Commander.
the plan. I guess we're going to get the pre-existing condition plan the same time we get the infrastructure plan that we've been waiting since 17, 18, 19, and 20. The fact, I still have a few more minutes. I know you're getting anxious. The fact is that he's already cost the American people, because of his terrible handling of the COVID virus and the economic spillover, 10 million people have lost their private insurance. And he wants to take away 22 million more people who have it under Obamacare, and over 110 million people with pre-existing conditions. And all the people from COVID are going to have pre-existing conditions. What are they going to do?
I have a follow-up for you, Vice President Biden. It relates to something that President Trump said. He's accusing you of wanting socialized medicine. What do you say to people who have concerns that your health care plan, which includes a government insurance option, takes the country one step closer to a health care system run entirely by the government? What's
I
your
say
response
it's
to them?
ridiculous. It's like saying that, we're the idea that the fact that there's a public option that people can choose, that makes it a socialist plan. Look, the difference between the president, I think health care is not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have the right to have affordable health care. And I am very proud of my plan. It's gotten endorsed by all the major labor unions.
He tried to make an analogy and realized it would sound really dumb, so he stopped
in the medical
himself.
field. This is something
He
that's
started
gonna
to
save
set up an
people's lives.
analogy.
And this is going to give some people an
Good for
opportunity,
him for pulling back.
to have health care for their children. How many of you home are worried and rolling around in bed tonight wondering what in God's name you're going to do if you get sick? Because you've lost your home insurance, your health insurance your company's gone under. We have to provide health insurance for people at an affordable rate, and that's what I do.
President Trump,
Excuse me, he was
your
there
response.
for 47 years. He didn't do it. He was now there as vice president for 8 years, and it's not like it was 25 years ago. It was 3 3/4. It was just a little while ago, right? Less than 4 years ago. He didn't do anything. He didn't do it. He wants
2020
socialized
counts for
medicine,
at least 4
and it's not
years.
that he wants it. His vice president, she
This is like the opposite of a
more
leap year.
liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even more. Bernie Sanders wants it. The Democrats want it. You're going to have socialized medicine, just like you went with fracking.
I don't agree that
Kamala
Kamala Harris is more liberal
Then
than
he goes
Bernie
to Pennsylvania
Sanders.
after he gets a
No.
nomination.
Yeah,
We
I
got very
know.
lucky to
That
get
lady
it.
that
And
put
he
all
goes
those
to
that
drug
too.
Pennsylvania,
users in jail?
and he
Yeah,
says,
I know.
"Oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna have fracking." And you never asked that question. And by the way, so far, I respect very much the way you're handling this, I have to say.
By the way-
But somebody should ask the question.
You can ask
He goes for a year. There will be
We
no
have
fracking. there
we
will
do
be
have a
no
number of
petroleum.
topics
No,
we're
no,
going to
but
get
that's a
to.
big question.
We're going to get to. We're going to get to.
It's the
another
same thing
topic.
with socialized
I have to
medicine.
respond.
Vice President, your response, please.
My response is people deserve to have affordable health care.
It's not
period.
socialized if you
Period,
got to
period,
buy it
period.
from the government.
And the Biden care proposal will, in fact,
Basically-
provide
I mean,
that
right
affordable
now-
health care,
right
lower
now,
premiums.
people
and what we're going to do is
people
going
on
to cost some money.
Medicaid are
It's gonna
getting
cost over
socialized health
$750
care.
billion
When you
over
turn
10 years to do
65
it.
and you
And they're gonna have
retire,
lower
you're
premiums,
given
you can
health
buy
care
into
by
better
the
plans,
government.
The cheaper
All
plans,
the public option
lower your
is
premiums,
saying
deal
I
with
can buy into that.
unexpected
If I cut the
billing,
government
and
a
have
check,
your
I
drug
can get
prices drop
Medicare.
significantly.
That's it.
He
That's
keeps talking
all it
about it.
is.
He hasn't done a thing. For
Right, and
anybody
it's
on
not for
healthcare.
profit.
Not a thing.
You know,
Very quickly,
it's
and
a
I wanna
public
talk about
option,
what's
so the
happening
prices
on
are always
Capitol
going to be
Hill. Talking
lower.
about socialized medicine,
Yes.
and when he and
the
healthcare,
reason the
when he
price
talks
lowers
about
Medicare
a
is
public
because
option,
there's like
he's talking about
50
destroying your
million
Medicare,
seniors in this
totally
pool.
destroying, and
So when you
destroying your
have
Social
50
Security,
million
and this
customers,
whole
you can
country will come
negotiate
down.
lower
You know,
prices.
Bernie Sanders tried it in his state. He tried it in his state. His governor was a very liberal governor. They wanted to make it work.
Okay,
It
let's let
was
Vice President
impossible
Biden
to work.
respond.
It doesn't
Vice
work.
President
He's
Biden
a very
responds.
confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. He's running against Joe Biden. I beat all those other people because I disagreed with them. Joe Biden he's running against. And the idea that we're in a situation that they're going to destroy Medicare, this is the guy that the actuary at Medicare said, if in fact, at Social Security, if in fact he continues to withhold his plan to withhold the tax on Social Security, Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023 with no way to make up for it. This is the guy who's tried to cut Medicare. So I mean, the idea that Donald Trump is lecturing me on Social Security and Medicare? Come on.
Come on.
He tried to get
10
rid of.
seconds,
He
Mr.
tried to hurt
President, and then I
Social
have to go to
Security
another
years
question.
ago.
He tried to hurt
Years ago.
Social Security.
Go back and look at the
He
records.
hurt that
He
security.
tried to hurt Social Security years ago.
All
He
right, let's move
puckered
on.
so
I'm gonna move
much
on.
that
Let
when
me,
they
I
Mr.
announced
know.
President, I have to move on
It's
to
like
the
he
next
has an
question,
everlasting
or else we're not gonna
gobstopper.
have time to talk about
You
it.
think
If
he
I'm
has an
elected.
everlasting
If he's
gobstopper?
elected, the stock market will crash.
So
Okay,
I'd like
let's
to
move on to the
analyst
next
say
question.
good.
Very
Turn
quickly.
different colors.
The idea that the stock market is booming is his only measure of what's happening. Where I come from in Scranton and Claymont, the people don't live off of the stock market. Just in the last three years during this crisis, the billionaires in this country made, according to the Wall Street, $700
Where I grew up in
billion
Scranton,
more
I bought paper from Dunder
$700 billion more
Mifflin.
dollars, because that's his only measure. What happens to the ordinary people out there? What happens to them?
Let's talk about what's happening on
401ks,
Capitol Hill. We're going to
Kristen,
move on.
401ks
Gentlemen.
Half
are
of
through
the
roof.
country
We're
has
gonna move
no
on.
retirement
roof.
savings
All
at
right.
all.
It doesn't come
Trump
from
is about to
Scranton.
tell us
That's
that people's
like when he
401ks
lived
are
there
doing
for a
great.
short period
Yeah,
of
they're
time
doing
before
great
he even
if
knew
you
it.
We're gonna move
have
on to
And
the
he
one.
next
left.
question.
And the people of Pennsylvania
I'm
Let me
were
move
guessing
on to
that
my
more
next question,
people
gentlemen.
listening
As of
to me
tonight,
right
more than
now,
12
watching
million
this at the
people are
Drunken
out of
Peasants,
work. And
have
as of tonight,
do
8
not
million
have
more
retirement
Americans have
savings
fallen into
than do.
poverty, and more
Because we're all
families are going
poor in
hungry
this
every
country.
day. Those
Because
hit hardest are women and
wages
people
haven't
of
gone
color.
up since
They see Washington
1997.
fighting
Like,
over a
you don't
relief
think
bill.
we want to
Mr.
save for
President, why haven't you
retirement?
been
We're
able
not
to get them the help they
stupid.
need?
We're
30
just
seconds
poor.
Because Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve it. I do.
But you're the president.
I do, but I still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I think we're going to take over the House because of her. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve anything because she'd love to have
Pelosi's
some
in the
victories
House.
on a
Pelosi's
date
in
called
the White
November 3rd.
House.
Nancy Pelosi does not want to approve it. We are ready, willing, and able to do something. Don't forget, we've already approved 3 plans, and it's gone through, including the Democrats, in all fairness. This one she doesn't want. It's near the election because she thinks it helps her politically. I think it hurts her politically.
All right, Mr. Vice President.
Pelosi had a bill passed through the House in July that had I think it was $5 and something trillion dollars worth of relief. Would have given people $600 worth of unemployment every week in addition to whatever they're getting from their states. They would have got a $1,200 check if they were families. It would have been more. And these people sat on Pelosi's bill forever. And now that it's like almost election time, Trump wants a check in people's hands with his name on it. Like, this is so dishonest to blame, like, the lack of activity on Nancy Pelosi. Her bill was done in July. She did her fucking homework. And then she went to the salon, but she did her fucking homework.
That have to balance their budgets, and states that have to balance their budgets, so then have to fire firefighters, teachers, first responders, law enforcement officers, so they can keep their cities and counties running. He will not support that. They have not done a thing for them. And Mitch McConnell said, let them go bankrupt. Let them go bankrupt. Come on. What's the matter?
The bill that was passed in the House was a bailout of badly run, high crime, Democrat, all run by Democrats, cities and states. It was a way of getting a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars to these states. It was also a way of getting a lot of money from our people's pockets to people that come into our country illegally. we were going to take care of everything for them. And what that does, and I'd love to do that, I'd love to help them, but what that does, everybody all over the world will start pouring into our country. We can't do it. This was a way of taking care of them.
Actually, they won't, because we're dying here of a virus that you can't control. Hey, good news. Illegal immigration hasn't been as big a problem lately. For some reason, people don't want to leave Mexico and come to America. I wonder why.
I don't see red states and blue states. What I see is American, United States. And folks, every single state out there finds themselves in trouble. They're going to start laying off, whether they're red or blue, cops, firefighters, first responders, because teachers, because they have to balance their budget. And the founders were smart. They allowed the federal government to deficit spend to compensate for the United States of America.
I want to talk about the minimum wage, gentlemen. Mr. Vice President, we are talking a lot about struggling small businesses and business owners these days. Do you think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You, of course, support a $15 federal minimum wage.
I do, because I think one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bail them out, too. We should be bailing them out now, those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of them going under. They're not going to be able to make it back. They passed a package that allows us to be able to call PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from organize how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. Schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help. But these guys will not help them.
They're not help them
any of the money.
These guys will not help them. Don't give them any of the money.
He said we have to help our small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping. I think it
raising
should be
the minimum wage, allowing people to
Alabama
shop at
is
small
different than New
businesses
York.
because they'll have
New York
enough
is different
income
from
to
Vermont.
spend. How could
Every
that work?
state
It
is
didn't work for
different. It should be a
Ford
state
with his
effort.
Model
We
T.
have to help. It's very important. We have to help our small businesses. How are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen, and what's been proven to happen, is when you do that, these small businesses fire many of their employees.
You said very recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. You said recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is that still the case?
And I would consider it to an extent, but
in a
what I
second
really
administration?
like, in a second
To an
administration,
extent.
but not to a level that's going to put all these businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look, I've lived in different places. I know different places. They're all different. Some places, $15 is not so bad. In other places, other states, $15 would be
Okay, President
ruinous.
Trump, thank you. Quick response, Vice President Biden.
2 jobs, 1 job, be below poverty. People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. These first responders, we all clap for as they come down the street because they've allowed us to make it. What's happening? They deserve a minimum wage of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level. And there is no evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business. That is simply not true.
We're going to talk about immigration. We're going to talk about immigration now, gentlemen, and we're going to talk about families within this context. Mr. President, your administration separated children from their parents at the border, at least 4,000 kids. You've since reversed your zero-tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into
Is your mic working, Jeff?
We now have as
Oh, no.
strong
Yeah,
a border
yeah.
as
Okay.
we've ever had.
I was
With
like, playing
over
accordion.
400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through
But
merit.
how will you
But let
reunite
me
these
just tell
kids
you,
with their families?
We're going to let the parents put
cages.
pictures
You know,
of their
they used to
children on the
say, I
wall.
built the cages. And then they had a picture in a certain newspaper, and it was a picture of these horrible cages. And they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Dun,
He
dun,
built
dun.
cages. Yes, we're working
That's
on it.
right.
We're
Obama
trying
built
very
the
hard.
cages.
But a lot of
I
these kids
just
come out
built
without
them
the
with
parents. They
kids.
come over
But
through cartels
Obama
and through
built those
coyotes and
cages.
through gangs.
Vice President Biden, let me bring you into this conversation. Quick response and then another question to you.
These 500-plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents. And it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Let me ask you.
People are jabbing on us and clowning on us, or intentionally orphaning those kids. Oh, we have egg on our face.
Who built the
For
cages?
Let's talk about
permanently orphaned children. Oh boy. Uh-oh. You really got shit on our shoe now.
And separated. And now they cannot find over 500 sets of those parents, and those kids are alone. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Biden, they're brown. Nobody cares.
They went down. We brought reporters, everything. They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean.
They're getting COVID right away.
One question.
They don't have to
Who built
wait.
the cages? I'd love you to ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy,
Who built
Mr.
the
Vice
cages?
President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course. So why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
Because we made a mistake. It took too long to get it right.
Took
too
too
long
long
to get it right.
That's
I'll
Joe
be
Biden's
president of the
career,
United
though.
States, not vice president.
You go back 10 years,
And the
20
fact
years
is, I've
from
made
every
it very
stance he's
clear.
on now. He was on the opposite
Within
of it
100
then.
days, I'm gonna
He's been
send to the
running
United
for
States
president
Congress
since
a
the
pathway to
early
citizenship
80s, too.
for over
Like, he's been
11
trying to
million
get
undocumented people.
into the
And
presidency
all of those
all the way
so-called
back.
dreamers.
He's so happy to finally get there.
This is the
They're
only
going to
time.
be
And by the
immediately
way,
certified
Discord
again to
chat,
be
tell
able
me if
to
I'm
stay
too
in
loud or
this
too
country
quiet.
and put
This
on a
is the
path to
only
citizenship.
time he's been
The
the
idea that
palatable option.
They are being sent
like,
home by this
in
guy, and they
2020,
want
it's
to
like
do that,
Joe
is they're
Biden.
going to a
He
country
probably
they've never
won't
seen
make
before.
things worse.
I can imagine you're 5 years old. Your
He was a
parents are
good
taking
vice
you across
president candidate when he
the
first
Rio
ran with
Grande
Obama.
River,
I was
and it's illegal.
excited to have him
You
on
say,
the
"Oh, no,
ticket.
He did
Mom,
really
leave me
well
here.
in that
I'm not
in the
gonna go
debate
with you."
against Sarah
They've been here.
Palin.
Many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000 of
It's
them
like
are
when
first
Hulk Hogan goes
responders
up against Barry
out there taking
Horowitz.
care of people during this crisis. We owe them. We owe them.
Kristen, he had 8 years to do what he said he was going to do.
8 years.
And I've changed without having a specific. We got rid of catch and release. We got rid of a lot of horrible things that they put in and that they lived with. But he had 8 years he was vice president. He did nothing except build cages to keep children in.
Vice President
Wrong.
Biden, your response.
The catch and release, you know what he's talking about there? If in fact you had a family came across and they were arrested, they in fact were given a date to show up for their hearing. They were released. And guess what? They showed up for a hearing. And this is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. That's never happened before in America. You come to the United States and you make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise: why I deserve it.
Wait a
under
minute.
American
You're
law.
not allowed to seek
They're
asylum
sitting
in a country
squalor
that
on
you're
the other side of
seeking
the river.
asylum from? Wait a minute.
So
That-
important.
That doesn't make
It
any
just shows
sense.
that he has no understanding of immigration or the laws. Catch and release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in.
That's
We
where
would
they
take
come
their
from.
name.
Everyone
We have
knows
to
that's where they
release
come
them
from.
into our country.
Because they're brown,
And then you say they
Benjamin.
come back. Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol
dude,
out to find
that's
them.
bullshit.
We
That
would
is
say
fucking
come
bullshit.
back in 2 years.
Overwhelming
3
majority.
years.
Overwhelming
We're gonna give you a
majority
court
would
case.
show
You
up for
need
their-
Perry Mason. We're going to give
their
you a
court
court
date.
case. When you say they come back, they don't come back, Joe.
do.
They never come back.
They
Only
do.
the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ, they might come back.
Okay, President Trump, let's give Vice President Biden a chance to respond, and
Only
then we're going
the
to move on
stupid
to the
You don't know the
idiots.
law, Joe.
Pay
Vice President
attention to the
Biden, your
law.
response.
Know the law. What he's telling you is simply not true.
Well, check it out. They don't come back.
Check it out.
Check it out.
All right, let's move
But
on
we don't have to
the
worry
next
about it because they
section.
terminated it, so we don't have to worry about
Let's
it.
We don't have to
move
worry
on
about
to
it.
the next
And yet
section.
I might be wrong,
525
but I already
kids
killed
not
that
know where
program,
God's
so
name
who
they're gonna
cares?
be and lost their parents.
Go ahead.
All right, let's talk about our next section, which is race in America. And I want to
Oh,
talk about the
God.
way Black and brown Americans experience race in this
we have
country.
popcorn?
Part of that experience
Some
is
tea
something
to sip
called
on.
the talk. It happens regardless of class and income. Parents who feel they have no choice but to prepare their children for the chance that they could be targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2 minutes, I want you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
I do. I do. You know, my daughter is a social worker, and She's written a lot about this. She has a graduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania in social work. And one of the reasons why I ended up working on the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, which is 90% African American, was to learn more about what was going on. I never had to tell my daughter, if she's pulled over, make sure she puts, for a traffic stop, put both hands on top of the wheel.
My papa had to tell me that.
Box because someone may shoot you. But a black parent, no matter how wealthy or how poor they are, has to teach their child, when you're walking down the street, don't have a hoodie on when you go across the street. Making sure that you, in fact, if you get pulled over, yes, sir, no, sir, hands on top of the wheel, because you are, in fact, the victim, whether you're a person making child of a $300,000 a year person or someone who's on food stamps. The fact of the matter is, there is institutional racism in America. And we have always said, we've never lived up to it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. Well, guess what? We have never, ever lived up to it, but we've always constantly been moving the needle further and further to inclusion.
1994 crime bill from Joe Biden.
This is the first president to come along and says that's the end of that.
The reason why we have
We're
these
not going to
problems.
do that anymore. We have to provide for economic
one of them,
opportunity, better
education, pretty bad one.
better
It's a
health,
pretty fucking bad
better
one.
access to schooling, better access to opportunity to
Trump put the
borrow
little
money
kids
to
in the
start
cages.
businesses.
Biden put their parents
All the
in.
things we can do, and I've laid out a clear plan as to how to do those things, just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
President Trump, same question to you, and let me remind you of the question. I would like you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
Yes,
People
I do.
are audio
And
trolling
again,
you right now,
he's been in government
Asterios.
47 years.
Are they? I don't
Except in
know.
1994,
I got this
when he
microphone
did
here. I don't want to be
such
too loud and
harm
people
to the
goddamn
black
ears.
community.
There's been a couple
And they
times
were
where you got
called-
drowned
he
out
called
over
them
the
super
talking.
predators.
And
he
but
said that.
that's
He said it,
majority,
super predators.
They were
majority
saying
well.
he was too
And they
loud
could
at first, so
never
I
get
turned him
that
down a little
down.
bit. And now that he's
1994,
asking,
your crime
everyone's
bill,
saying
the
something
super
different.
predators.
That's it. I'm
Nobody
turning
has done
myself
more
back
for
up
the
to
black
100.
Low dog
Fuck all of
yes,
you.
do it, do it.
I'm
Low
the
Dog 09
loudest now.
No, don't do that.
Exception
podcast
of Abraham Lincoln, possibly.
Low Dog
exception
09 says put
of
some
Abraham
peanut butter in
Lincoln.
Joe's mouth so he
Nobody
can
has
talk.
done what I've
That
done.
actually,
Criminal justice reform.
I'll control the volume
Obama
from my end.
and
Just keep it
Joe
at.
didn't do it. I don't even think they tried because they had
Now
no
you're too
chance
low.
at doing it.
Turn it
They
up
might
to
have wanted
turn
to
it
do
up to where you had it
but if
before,
had
and
to
I'll
see
control the
arms I had to
volume.
twist to get that done,
Is it my
was
fault
not
that
a
I
pretty
care?
picture, and everybody knows it,
yes, it is
including
your
some
fault
very
that you
If you
care.
difficult
care, you'll
people
let
that
me control the
cried in my
volume.
office.
Ben and I
They
stopped
cried in
caring
the
back in
Oval Office.
1997,
2 weeks
and this
later,
show's
they're
doing
out saying,
very
"Gee, we
well."
have to defeat him.
Too
Criminal
much
justice
about
reform,
your man.
prison reform, opportunity zones with Tim Scott, a great senator from South Carolina. He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity zones. It's one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment is being made.
I would
Biggest
not get it
beneficiary,
done
the
on
black
the same.
and Hispanic communities, and then historically black colleges and universities. After 3 years of coming to the office, I love some of those guys. They were great. They came into the office and they said, I said, what are you doing? After 3 years, I said, why do you keep coming back? Because we have no funding. I said, you don't have to come back every year. We have to come back because President Obama would never give them long-term funding, and I did. 10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them, and they like me and I like them. But I saved historically black colleges and universities.
Okay, and we're going to talk about both of your
did you drop the
records, but
bomb?
your response to that, Vice
My
President.
response to that is I never, ever said what he accused me of saying. The fact of the matter is, in 2000, though, after the crime bill had been in the law for a while, this is a guy who said, the problem with the crime bill, there's not enough people in jail. There's not enough people in jail. And go on my
and
website,
after
get
the
the quote,
BLM
the date when
protests,
he said
Biden
it.
said there's not enough.
people.
There's not
He
enough
talked about
cops.
marauding
We need more
gangs,
cops.
young gangs, and the
So-
people who are going to maraud our cities. This is a guy who, in the Central Park five innocent black kids, he continued to push for making sure
That was a good
that
one.
they got the death penalty.
You
None
got
of them
him.
were.
Yeah,
none
you got
of
him
them
there.
Were
And
guilty
after-
of what
after
the
they
crime
were
of
acquitted, he was like,
crime
they're still bad
suggested.
people.
Look, and talk about
Yeah.
Granted,
Fucking crazy.
he did in fact let 20 people. He commuted 20 people's sentences. We commuted over 1,000 people's sentences. Over 1,000. The very law he's talking about is a law that, in fact, initiated by Barack Obama. And secondly, we're in a situation here where the federal prison system was reduced by 38,000 people under our administration. And one of these things we should be doing, there should be no minimum mandatories in the law. That's why I'm offering $20 billion to states to change their
minimum
state
mandatories.
Laws
is that what he said?
Minimum mandatories.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
set up
it
drug courts.
mandatory
No one should be
minimums?
going to jail because they have a drug
Yeah.
problem. They should be going to
Okay, I didn't-
rehabilitation,
all right.
not to jail. We should fundamentally change the system, and that's what I'm going to do.
But why didn't he do it 4 years ago?
I
why
mean,
didn't you do that
a good
4
point.
years ago? Even
Why
less
didn't-
than that.
why
Why
didn't
didn't
Trump?
you
I
do it?
am
You were
not-
vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're going to do this. But you were there just a short time ago, and you guys did nothing.
Trump's been
We
talking
did,
about
Joe.
punishing
I ran
China for
because of
releasing
you.
the
I ran
coronavirus
because of
since
Barack Obama.
February.
Because you did
Why
a good
hasn't he
job.
punished
If I
them for
thought
the
you did a
past
good
10
job, I
months?
would have
He's
never
been
run.
talking
I
about
would
an
have never
amazing
run. I
health
ran
care
because
plan
of
that's
you.
going to be
I'm
100
looking at
times
you
better
now.
than
You're a
Obamacare.
politician.
And he
I
keeps
ran
telling us
because
that
of
we're
you.
going to get
All
to
right, Vice
see it
President Biden, your
in
response
2
to that, and
weeks.
then I do have
It's
some
been 2
questions for
weeks
both
now
of
for
you.
Well, I'll tell
4
you what,
years.
I hope he does look at me, because what's happening here is, you know who I am, you know who he is, you know his character, you know my character, you know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. I am anxious to have this race. I am anxious to see this take place. Character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some
Excuse me.
Please respond,
If
and then we're
this
going to have
stuff
follow-up
is true
questions.
about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
All right.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
Nobody-
Take a look
President
at the
Trump, I
laptop
want to
from
stay
hell.
on the issue
Excuse
of
me,
race. We're
take a
talking
look at
about the issue.
laptop from hell.
President Trump,
The
we're
laptop
talking about
from
race
hell.
right now, and I do
The only
want to
laptop
stay
more
on the issue
damning
of
than
race.
Onision.
President Trump,
And I
you've
have to
described-
respond. There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean Russia hoax?
That's exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
Pokemon
what
trainer
it is.
Giovanni.
Where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Yes.
Russia,
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay
Russia,
on the issue
Russia,
of race.
Russia.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go
President?
again with Russia.
We're going to continue on the issue of race. Mr. President, you've described the Black Lives Matter movement as a symbol of hate. You've shared a video of a man chanting white power to millions of your supporters. You've said that black
be fair-
professional athletes exercising their First Amendment rights should be fired.
Those are my
What do you
base.
say to Americans who say that kind of language from a president is contributing to a climate of hate and racial strife?
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs.
That sounds comfy
pigs,
and
talking about our
delicious.
police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching
That's
down
a
the
fucking
street.
bar.
And that was my first
Yeah, dude.
Pigs in a
glimpse
blanket,
of Black
fry 'em
Lives
like
Matter. I
bacon.
thought it was a terrible thing.
Somebody's
As far as-
making an entire
It's
song.
not
out of it.
relationships
Trump saying
with
pigs in a
all
blanket,
people.
fry 'em
I think
like
I have
bacon.
great relationships
I'm gonna get
with
Hannibal
all
to
people.
remix that for
I
me. We're
am
making
the
a fucking
least
track.
racist person
birthday,
in this
Hannibal.
room.
Well, what do you say to
I'm
Americans
the
who are
least
concerned
racist
by
person
that
in this room.
rhetoric
I don't know.
and by
I mean, I don't know
the-
what to say. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity zones. I took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say. They can say anything. I mean,
He's
they can
worried
say
that they're
anything.
calling cops
It's
pigs. Didn't
makes
he
me
call a
sad
hot porn
because
star
I
he
am.
slept with
I am the least
Horseface? Is
racist
this the
person.
guy
I can't even
who's
see
going to
the
be
audience
worried about
because it's so
calling?
dark. But I don't care
He's
who's in
calling
the audience. I'm
Francis'
the least
ex-girlfriend's
racist
dog.
person in this room.
Okay,
But that's
Vice
different.
President Biden, let me
Police
ask
deserve
you very
respect,
quickly,
not
and then I
women
have a
you have
follow-up
sex
question
with.
for you.
Abraham
I
Lincoln is
suppose
one
that's
of the most
true.
racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. He started off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexican rapists. He's banned Muslims because they're Muslims. He has moved around and made everything worse across the board. He says about the poor boys. Last time we were on
The
stage
poor
here, he
boys.
said, I
The
told him
poor
to stand
boys?
down.
That's great.
Wait,
Oh,
is he
God.
singing
guy
the
is a
Proud
dog
Boys,
whistle
or is he
about as
just
big as a
78
foghorn.
years old? I can't
President Trump, I'm
tell.
going to give you 10 seconds to
He's,
respond, and then I have a
No,
follow-up.
he made
He
a
wants a
reference to
sandwich
Abraham
from New
Lincoln.
Orleans.
Poor boys.
I mean,
You said
where did that? No.
You
I
said
said
just
not
4
since
points
Abraham
left
Lincoln
to fail.
has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
And I'm
I
saying-
didn't say I'm Abraham Lincoln. I said
I didn't say
not
I'm
since
Abraham Lincoln, even though he is the
Lincoln
only president
has
taller
anybody
than
He
you.
was just
what I've
hungry
done
for
the
a
black
delicious
community.
sandwich,
Now,
you know?
you have done
Po'
nothing
boys.
other than the crime bill, which put
Oh, God.
tens of thousands of black men, mostly in jail.
All right, let me-
and you know
let me
what?
a- let me
they
ask
remember
Vice
it because
President
if you
Biden
look
a
at what's
question.
happening with the voting right now,
Let me ask
they
Vice
remember
President
that
Biden
you treated them
about-
very, very badly.
The-
Just
the-
take a look at what's happening out there.
Vice President Biden, let me give you a chance to respond within this context. Crime
Okay.
bills that you supported in the 80s and 90s contributed to the incarceration of tens of thousands of young black men who had small amounts of drugs in their possession. They are sons, they are brothers, they're fathers, they're uncles, whose families are still to this day, some of them suffering the consequences. So speak to those families. Why should they vote for you?
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs and how to deal with drugs. It was a mistake. I've been trying to change the since then, particularly the portion on cocaine. That's why I've been arguing that, in fact, we should not send anyone to jail for a pure drug offense. They should be going into treatment across the board. That's what
Fucking
we
A.
should be spending money. That's why I set up drug courts, which were never funded by our Republican friends. They should not be going to jail for a drug or an alcohol problem. They should be going into treatment. That's what we've been trying to do. That's what I'm going to get done, because I think maybe the American people have now seen that, in fact, it was a mistake to pass those laws relating to drug. But they were not in the crime bill.
A
But why
mistake.
didn't he get it done? See, it's all talk, no action with these politicians. Why didn't he get it done?
You're
That's
the
what I'm
you're
gonna
the
do when I
president
become
of the
president.
United States.
You were vice
You're our
president
number
along with
one
Obama as your
politician.
president, your leader.
You're
For
running
8
for
years.
president.
Why didn't you get
You're
it done?
part of
You had
a
8 years to get it
political
done. Now you're saying you're
debate.
going to get it done because
But he
you're
has
all talk
done
and
some
no
stuff
action.
with prison
We got
reform.
one of it done.
Like he
We
has.
released 38,000
Yeah,
like
38,000
like
prisoners left from
15
the
fucking
nothing
people,
done.
like Kanye
38,000
calls it.
prisoners were released from federal prison. We have there were over
because of
1,000 people who were given
him.
clemency. We
The
in
White
fact,
House
we're the ones
like
that put in the legislation saying we could look at
Six
pattern and
reform.
practice. of
I don't
police
know why you're
departments and what they were
breaking up,
doing, how they were
Asterios,
conducting
but
themselves.
for some
I
reason
could
you're like
go on,
breaking up a
but
little
we
bit.
began the process. We began the
Back
process.
up.
We lost an election. That's why I'm running to win back that election and change his terrible policy.
I
With
just
response,
asked,
and then we're
I
gonna
just
move
asked
on
one
to climate
question.
change.
Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time ago? Why didn't you do it? You just said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. You put tens of thousands of mostly black young men in prison. Now you're saying you're going to undo that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama. You know why,
Because-
Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice President
Because
Biden, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
Because we built a lot of
The
prisons. We got to keep them
Republican
full. It's big business.
That's the answer.
Well, you
Okay.
got to talk them into it, Joe. Sometimes
All right.
you got to talk them into it.
We're going to move on to our next
Sometimes,
section.
Joe, you
which
can't
is
just grab 'em
climate
by the
change.
Justice
politics.
reform. I had
Okay.
to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen,
You did what we
we're running out of
already done.
time, so we got to get on to
Okay.
climate change, please. You both have very different
poor
visions
boys.
on climate change. President Trump, you say that environmental regulations have hurt jobs
poor
in the
boys
energy
printing
sector.
yet?
Vice President Biden,
I hope
you
so.
have said you see addressing climate change as an opportunity to create new jobs. For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time.
Yeah, it's
Not
tr-
Joe. I
yeah,
haven't
so
heard
many
Joe
people
use the
are
term
doing
'cause I'm not
hashtag
sure he
the
knows what
poor
it
boys.
represents or means, but I have heard Obama use it. And we have the best carbon emission numbers. that
I
we've
see
had in
like pictures of
35 years
sandwiches.
under this
People are posting pictures of
administration.
sandwiches.
We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India. It's filthy. The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars. And we were treated
Trillions.
very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord. It was so unfair. China doesn't kick in until 2030. Russia goes back to a low standard, and we kicked in right away. It would have destroyed our businesses. So, you ready? We have done an incredible job environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best carbon emission standards that we've seen in many years.
The people of Flint might have a problem with what you're
President,
We
saying.
haven't destroyed our industries.
Vice President Biden, 2 minutes to you, uninterrupted.
Of course, Obama didn't fucking help
Climate
Flint either, but
change,
whatever.
climate warming, global warming is an existential threat to humanity. We have a moral obligation to deal with it. And we're told by all the leading scientists in the world we don't have much time. We're going to pass the point of no return within the next 8 to 10 years. 4 more years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate, to limit limit emissions.
Instead, now
will put
Wall
us in a
Street's
position where
cleaning up.
we're going to be in real trouble. Here's where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, the people worried about jobs.
Trump's side of the screen
support my
keeps
climate
glitching
plan.
out.
Because what it does, it will create
That's
millions
God
of new
blessing
good
Trump.
It's because his
jobs. We're
hologram
gonna
is
invest
malfunctioning.
in,
Trump's
for
actually
example,
dead.
500,000.
He died of COVID
50,000,
in
50,000 charging stations.
He's got
on
a
our
Tupac
highways
hologram now.
So that we can own
COVID
the electric car
craft.
market of the future. In the meantime, China
Pigs
is
in a
doing that.
blanket,
We're going
fry
to be
'em
in a
like
position where we're
bacon.
going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million existing buildings and 2 million existing homes and retrofit them so they don't leak as much energy, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs. And by the way, the whole idea of what this is all going to do, it's going to create millions of jobs, and it's going to clean the environment. Our health and our jobs are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the way, Wall Street firms indicated that my plan will in fact create 18.6 million jobs, 7 million more than his.
He's
This is
lying.
from Wall Street, and I'll create $1 trillion more in economic growth than his proposal does. Not on climate, just on the economy.
President Trump, you're
They came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan, that his plan is an economic disaster.
It's a
If you look
disaster.
at what he wants to do, you know, if you look at his plan, his
nothing to do with
environmental
climate.
plan, you know who developed it? AOC +3. They know nothing about the climate.
That would be a
I
good
mean, she's
pop
got a good
band,
line
though.
of stuff, but she
AOC
knows nothing
+3.
about the climate, and they're all hopping through hoops for AOC +3. Look, their real plan costs $100 trillion. If we had the best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that. When he says buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows. As far as they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing. This is the craziest
Gonna take
plan
away your
that
daylight.
anybody has ever seen.
Balloon,
And this
balloon.
wasn't done by smart people. This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it can be good politically. They want to spend $100 trillion. That's their real number. He's trying to say it was 6. It's $100 trillion. They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little, tiny, small windows. I mean, and many other things.
Okay.
And many other things.
Let me have the Vice President
It
respond,
is
and we're running out of
crazy.
time, and we have a lot more
You'll
questions to
destroy
get
our
to.
country.
So let's
With
hear from
little
the Vice
tiny
President.
windows.
I have a number more questions.
Little tiny small
Little tiny
windows
windows.
that I can stick my tiny little hands through.
$100
What
trillion.
the fuck was that?
Give me a break.
You know,
This
if I had the
plan
choice
was-
between
this is plan
the
endorsed
earth
by every
going
major-
up in
every
flames
major
and my
environmental group
grandkids
and
not
every
living to
labor
see
group.
30
Labor,
and a smaller
because they know
window,
the future
I'll
lies.
take those
The future
portholes they have
lies
on
in us
cruise
being able
ships.
to
Like,
breathe.
Nah, fuck
give me
that.
the
They know they're
teeny
good
tiny
jobs in
window.
getting us
Fuck
there.
it.
And by the way, the fastest growing industry in America
Teeny tiny
are-
windows.
is the electric, solar energy and wind. He thinks wind causes cancer, windmills. It's the fastest growing jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages.
He thinks windmills
45,
cause
50 bucks
cancer.
an hour.
He has said that.
Grow
That's
and
ridiculous.
we can be cleaner if we go
A
the route I
windmill
propose.
causes
President
cancer.
Trump, please
We are
respond, and then I have some
We are
follow-ups.
energy independent for the first time. We don't need all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their energy. We are energy independent. I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive.
We know
Kills
that.
all the birds. It's very intermittent.
Kills all the birds.
Kills all the birds.
And they happen to make the windmills
This
in
guy
both Germany
lives
and
in
China.
Kentucky
And
Fried
the fumes
Chicken,
coming up,
and
if
he's
you're a
worried
believer in
about
carbon
killing the
emission,
birds.
the fumes
Yeah.
to make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a scientist
Solar.
that said that.
I love solar, but solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's not powerful yet to really run our big, beautiful factories that we need to compete with the world.
What the
so
fuck, dude?
it's all a pipe dream. But you know what
I'm gonna
we'll
fuck
do?
all them
We're going to have the
factories.
greatest economy in the world. But if you want to kill the economy, get rid of your oil industry. You want. And what about fracking?
All right,
Now-
let me
now we have to ask
let
him
me
about
allow
fracking.
Vice President Biden to respond.
What about
said
fracking?
I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I did. Show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it on.
Put it on the website. The fact of the matter is
Show
he's
the list.
flat lying.
Would you
Flat-
rule out banning fracking?
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer we need other industries to transition to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025. What I will do with fracking over time
2025?
is make sure that we can capture
In
the
5
emissions
years, you want to get to
from
zero
fracking.
emissions?
I think
Capture the
I think he meant
emissions from gas.
2035.
We can
Okay,
do
'cause
that,
that's a
and
lofty
we can do that
goal.
by investing money
Yeah.
and doing it. But it's a transition.
Joe's
to that.
getting tired,
I have
man.
one more question.
Yeah,
This
his
time
brain
we
is not.
He was
The
against
hamster
fracking.
slowed
He
down.
I
said
hope
it.
he loses
I will
just so
show
he can
that
get
to
a
you
break.
tomorrow. I am against fracking. Until he got the nomination, went to Pennsylvania, then he said, but you know what, Pennsylvania? He'll be against
I'm
it very
voting
soon
for
because
Trump
his party
because I
is
think
totally
Biden
against
deserves
Fracking on
arrest.
federal land, I said. No fracking
You
and
said
or oil on
didn't say
federal
Let
land.
me ask this
I
final
did.
question in this section, and then I want to move on to our final section. President Trump, people of color are much more likely to live near oil refineries and chemical plants. In Texas, there are families who worry the plants near them are making them sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families give you another 4 years in office?
Well, because
The
we got
families that we're
electrolytes
talking
coming.
about are employed heavily, and they are making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made. If you look
We
at
got
the
what plants
kind of
crave.
numbers
It'll be
that we
okay.
produce for
35%
Hispanic,
unemployment
for
rate.
Black, for Asian, it's 9 times greater the percentage gain than it was under in 3 years than it was under 8 years of the two of them, to put it nicely. 9
The
times
two
more.
of them, to put it
Now,
nicely.
somebody lives, I have not heard the numbers or the statistics that you're saying, but they're making a tremendous amount of money economically. We saved it. And I saved it again a number of months ago when oil was crashing because of the pandemic. We saved it. We got, say what you want about relationship, we got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia to cut back, way back. We saved our oil industry, and now it's very vibrant again.
All
And
right.
everybody has very inexpensive gasoline. Remember
Vice
that.
President
Remember
Biden,
that.
your response,
Remember that.
and then
It's
we're
very
gonna have a
vibrant.
final
Very
question for
inexpensive
both of you.
My
gasoline.
response is that those people live on what they call fence lines. He doesn't understand this. They live near chemical plants that, in fact, pollute, chemical plants and oil plants and refineries that pollute. I used to live near that when I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware. And all the more oil refineries in Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turning the windshield wiper, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people in my state were dying
And have 3
getting
eyes.
cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities,
why
it
I
doesn't
like
matter what you're
to
paying
feel
them.
the
It
leg-
matters how you
my
keep
leg
them
hair
safe.
stand on edge
What
when
do
the
you
kids
do?
rub their
You
arms up and
impose
down
restrictions on the
for an ice
pollutants
cream bar.
that the pollutants
The
coming
hair
out
on
of
my
those
legs
fence lines.
would stand up,
Communities.
go up.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close down the oil
It
industry?
falls.
Would you close
It
down the
falls-
oil
By the way, I
industry?
would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I would
that's a big
transition.
statement.
It is a big statement
That's a big
because
statement.
I would stop
Why would you do that?
because the
Why
oil
would you ever do
industry
that, Joe Biden?
pollutes significantly.
Why would
Listen,
you do
here's
that
the
to our
deal.
poor,
But
innocent
it's-
oil
it's-
industry?
Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it
Can
has
I
to be
finish?
replaced by
Can
renewable
I finish?
energy
Can I finish?
over
I'm
time.
finished.
Can I finish?
Over time.
My
And I
favorite
stopped
debate
giving
ever was the
to
one
the
where they
oil
put Ross
industry.
Perot
I
in
stopped
there because
giving
having
federal
3 of them
subsidies.
was great.
He won't give
And
federal
Ross
subsidies
Perot,
to the-
he's like,
to
"Can I
gas-
finish?
excuse
Can
me,
I
to the-
finish? Can I
to,
finish? Can I
solar
finish? Can I
and
finish?
wind.
Can I
Why
finish?"
are we
Okay,
giving
I'm
it to the
finished.
oil industry?
We actually do
All
give
right.
it to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President Biden, let me give you 10 seconds to respond, and then
Ohio?
I have to get to the final question. Vice President Biden.
He takes everything out of context, but the point is, look, we have to move toward a net zero emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production. By 2050, totally.
All right. One
Is he
final
gonna get
question
China
to
to do
both.
it?
No, we're finished with
Is
this.
he
We have
going to
to
get
move
China
on to
to
our
do it?
final question. We have to
I'm
move
going
on
to
to our final
rejoin Paris
question.
Accord and make China abide by what they agreed to.
All right,
That'll
this
cost you
is
$1
about
trillion.
leadership.
That'll cost you $1 trillion.
And this
Not
first
like we didn't just
question
give
does go
trillions
to you,
away
President
with
Trump.
the CARES Act.
Imagine this is your inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who did not vote for you?
Well, I would
You'll
say,
each have
first off,
1
fuck your
minute,
bitch and
starting
the
with
click you
We have
claim.
to make a
West Side
country
when Brad come equipped with
totally
game.
successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China. Now we're rebuilding it, and we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs in a short period of time, et cetera. But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting calls from people that were not normally people that would call
Twitch
me.
Prime
They
bitches.
wanted to get together. We had the
Yes.
best black unemployment numbers in the history of our country. Hispanic, women, Asian, people with diplomas.
These
with no
are all
diplomas,
words he
MIT
sounds so
graduates, number one in the
comfortable
class,
saying.
Everybody
They
had
just
the
roll
best numbers.
off his
And you know
tongue
what? The other
like
side
honey
wanted
from a
to get
bee.
together. They wanted to unify. Success is going to bring us together. We are on the road to success, but I'm cutting
Love
taxes,
will
and he
bring
wants to
us
raise everybody's
together.
taxes, and he wants to put new regulations on everything. He will kill it. If he gets in, you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen. Your 401ks
I've seen some pretty
will go
terrible
to hell,
depression.
and it'll be a very, very sad day
I was
for
an
this
angsty
country.
teen.
All right. Vice President Biden, same question to you. What will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
I will say, I'm an American president. I represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me. And I'm going to make sure that you're represented. I'm going to give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to choose science over fiction. We're going to choose hope over fear. We're going to choose to move forward because we have enormous opportunities to make things better. We can grow this economy. We can deal with the systemic racism. And at the same time, we can make sure that our economy is being run and moved and motivated by clean energy, creating millions of new jobs. And that's the fact. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, as I said at the beginning, what is on the ballot here is the character of this country.
We're also going to legalize all
Decency,
drugs and
honor,
prostitution.
Respect. Treating
If he
people
said that
with
right
dignity,
now, oh
making
my
sure
God, this
that
would be the
everyone
best
has a
debate
even
ever.
chance.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure you get that. You haven't been getting it the last 4 years.
All right, I
Oh,
want to thank
he's
you
like,
both for a
baby
very
girl, you ain't been
robust
getting that good
hour and a
dick.
half, a
I'm gonna
fantastic
slide and give you that
debate. Really
Biden
appreciate
slide
it.
in.
President Trump, former Vice
The
President
Biden
Joe
slide in.
Thank you to Belmont University for hosting us tonight.
Ain't no
And most
two Trump
importantly,
pump.
Thank you to
I'm
those
giving you the
watching
Biden
tonight.
slide in.
Election Day is November 3rd. Don't forget to vote. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you, everyone.
So there you have it, a much more
All
coherent
right, so
debate.
there's that. So thoughts.
Okay, this is the special part here. What do you guys think were the lines of the night, the moments of the night? Who won? Who had the hardest hit? I feel like Biden might have hit the hardest with his poor boys line.
That was the
anybody's
line
gonna
of
give
the
a fuck
night.
about that. I mean, yeah, he wins for the ridiculous line. He not but the most ridiculous fuck up. No, Trump fucked up so fucking bad in this.
No, I think
So
his fuck up was
incredibly bad.
genius.
His fuck ups were like
it was
factually incorrect statements. The problem with this is that Trump is basically just trying to pander to his base, and his base doesn't care if he's telling the truth. In fact, I would say probably most people who are hardcore magatards, they know that he lies, and they don't give a shit. They do not give a fuck. They don't care. But Trump, I don't think really knows how to like actually kind of reach out to like middle line voters anymore. Not really, because they don't give a shit about him owning Biden. They don't give a fuck about that. They give a fuck about basic things. They give a fuck about like everyday American kind of things. And maybe if they're like a little bit more socially conscious, which we all should be, they give a fuck about the environment. Like that's the things that people are actually going to give a shit about. They don't give a fuck if he owned Joe. They don't give a fuck if Joe was like the poor boys. They don't care. They don't give a shit about that. Regular people don't give a fuck.
It made me hungry for po' boys.
I want
me
a
too.
po' boy so bad. I've been thinking about that mayonnaise, that red, like Carolina sauce they put on that shit. Oh my God. You ever had a po' boy on a garlic bread bun? Amazing.
Yeah, dude. You know what? I almost bought the makings for a giant fucking muffalata right before I got home.
God.
That's what's up, dude.
Well, look. Here's my take. Nobody won, and because of that, Biden won. Trump needed Biden to poop his pants and cry for his mommy tonight. Nothing has changed the momentum of the race. I don't know who's going to win the election.
Yeah,
that's an entirely different story. But like right now, I don't think either side scored any big points, any critical hits.
Asterios, do you trust the polls? Do you believe what you see?
No. No, why would I? It didn't work out last time. And also, what's in it for me for trusting the polls? Like, if I trust the polls, if anything, that'll just kind of make me more complacent.
I don't trust the polls. I trust the girls who dance on them.
Of course you do. And did you know those polls spin by themselves?
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't tell you that.
No, there'd be so much chafing if they had to spin around the pole. It's a different.
But I didn't know until I got on that pole myself.
Yeah. Have you ever been on a mechanical bull?
Yes, because
saw
they
them
make
that.
you only hold on with one hand. I get thrown off right away. If I could two-hand it, I might be able to do it.
To defend polls just a tiny little bit, and this isn't like I don't trust the polls either at all, but with the polls, there's a 3% margin of error, right? But that's a 3% margin of error for each side reporting. So the fact that it was like that 6% gap happened and Trump fucking won isn't really that surprising. That's totally within the margin of error of how they establish these polls. It makes sense. It actually does make sense. The difference is we're not talking 6% now. We're talking like double digits right now. Now, do I trust that? No. Fuck no. Fuck no. No fucking way, dude.
Here's my take on polls. And like, I went to Emerson College. Emerson's big on polling. Like, my whole life I've read about the Marist poll, this poll, that poll. It's like, at the end of the day, the reason the news talks about polls is because they don't have anything else to talk about that day.
I'll tell you what, though, they do. Now, there's exit polls, which you normally
That's different.
Yes.
That's different. That's not this polling that like, what do you do if you don't have any news? You go out and make some. It's what a band does. If a band doesn't have any news, they make an album, they sell it. They make a t-shirt, they sell it.
Asterios, how do you think this is going to play out, like, on the map here? Who wins which states?
I think Biden wins Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I think Trump wins Texas.
Okay.
And I think it all comes down to Florida, and it's too close to call.
You're not going to make a call?
No. What's in it for me? Like, this is
a fish sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, are you serious?
Yeah, if you make the call and you win, I'll Postmates you a fish sandwich.
That's all it takes.
Biden.
Don't jinx it.
Oh! Biden, by just a little bit.
You're calling Biden
and I'll
by
tell
a
you
bit.
why. I'll tell you exactly why. So many states in this last election came down to like 30,000 votes. This county, 18,000 votes. This thing, like Florida in 2020, came down to 357 votes.
The reason why I was asking you is because we each filled out one. Like, here's Billy's, and here's mine, and then we're gonna see who was the closest. If you got one guess at it.
All right.
Yeah. Here's Billy's.
Yeah, I've got a Trump win. I think
Jeff is so disappointed.
Wait.
Yeah.
Do you have Minnesota as red?
Yeah.
He does.
It was a toss-up between Minnie or Wisconsin.
Neither. Oh my god, dude. No way. Holy shit.
I think one of them's going to hit.
Oh man, I don't think so, dude.
I think one of them's going to hit.
Think so. I'm really familiar with both those states. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe you're right.
Maybe they both go blue, and Michigan's like, fuck it. This has been a crazy time for Michigan. We want this governor out of here. People are going to come in and push the governor. I'm not saying these states are exactly there. I just had to make the picks.
Yeah. We had to make a choice. So here's mine. Mine's not too different, but I do have Minnesota blue.
Yeah.
And I have, we looked at this earlier. In most scenarios, barring some unforeseen circumstances, Trump has to win Ohio, Florida, and Pennsylvania. He has to win all three of them.
In order to win?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that's very likely. I don't think he's going to win Pennsylvania at all. I don't think there's a chance. You know Ohio better than I do, so I don't know about that.
Ohio's so close in the polls. I would say Trump won it last time. I don't know. I think maybe John Kasich has a little bit of an effect on that because they liked him there as the governor, and he was a Republican governor there.
Right.
But I don't know.
I think John Kasich came out pretty hard anti-Trump, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. That's why I'm saying that he has an effect there.
And they're saying there's a place for Kasich on the Biden board, maybe?
On the cabinet, yeah. On the cabinet.
Cool.
They were
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still curious about Georgia, because, I get that Georgia's got a lot of fucking hicks, but I don't know, man.
It's close.
Yeah, it's close. I don't know. Who knows? Well, I mean, we're gonna find out in 2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, today's the 13 or 12 days till the election.
Anybody who says I'm not right about this, I'm happy.
We don't know if neither of us know if we're right.
I'm happy to be wrong. I don't want Trump to be president. My bonus if Trump is president is I hope that the people are that much more angry 4 years from now and that much more organized, and we have a more charge base for somebody better than Biden. That's my only hope. I don't think Biden is impressive.
The DNC.
I think after the last 4 years, the Democratic National Committee dropped the ball with Hillary. They lost the election to Trump. Trump didn't win. The Democrats lost to Trump, and they did nothing to make a worthwhile runner against Trump. They propped up Biden.
I will say, I would agree with what you just said a lot more if COVID didn't happen, and I think COVID's going to have a lot to do with the election. It's going to have a lot to do with the outcome of it. And places that got hit really hard that may have normally been a little more towards Trump probably might go blue. I
don't know. I think that there's going to be a promise made in the next week here, the COVID promise. Maybe some checks will roll through. Maybe something will be on its way that makes Trump look like he saved the day.
He can't do the checks by himself, though. That would have to be approved. So he can't just send checks to everybody.
Unless it comes out of his own pocket.
There is one thing though that really, really fucking bothered me, and I looked it up because it pisses me off, and it keeps getting fucking brought up. The catch and release shit that Trump is going to be parroting forever and ever and ever, hoping it's a fucking slam. The lowest out of all of the companies that would report on how many of the catch and release people would show up for their court date, the lowest was 86% of cases. The highest and the highest was 99, and the median was actually 96% of every single person that was caught and released showed up for every single one of their hearings.
So 1% was far off.
So Jeff, how do you call it?
Right.
How do you call it?
And one more thing too.
Okay.
Of anybody who was Mexican that was coming into the country that had a prior criminal record, 97% of them were caught and deported back to Mexico. Simple as that. So what he tells you is fucking bullshit. Whether you like him or not, I'm not trying to tell you how to fucking vote, but that thing is demonstrably false. It's fucking bullshit. It just is what it is.
I don't want to tell you how to be a Republican Trump sub slut, but he was wrong.
Yeah, which states would you change? Which states do you think are wrong on here? And then we got to do the yellow ones too. And then keep in mind, Nebraska and Maine have 2 districts.
Do they really? That's
yes.
weird. Man, I don't fucking know. I don't know.
No? All right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Jeff, just put the whole country blue.
Yeah.
Okay. Whole country blue. Whole country
Yes,
blue. That's
I love it. Whole country blue. I like Jeff. Jeff's got balls. And if Biden wins, Jeff wins. The poll boy was only for Asterios, though, sadly.
Yeah, finally.
Well,
It's like,
I think it's a-
my,
I think
now
it's a
I
poll
have
boy.
a reason for wanting Biden to win.
Now,
I
Asterios.
get a sandwich.
Yes, Asterios, if
Yeah.
you could look through your neighborhood delivery options and find a quality sandwich that would deliver to you. I said fish sandwich. I feel like through the terms and conditions, it should be a fish sandwich. I'll accept shrimp. I'll accept seafood. I feel like that it has to be a seafood sandwich, though. Is that fair?
I want a po' boy.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah, find a good quality po' boy, a shrimp po' boy. If you find a lobster po' boy, I might splurge. I feel like that's a little psycho, but if you do, I'll go there. But probably shrimp po' boy.
I'm not here to take advantage.
Hey.
I'll get a medium price sandwich from like a nice place.
Hey,
I'm not gonna get like the caviar
There's
sandwich.
Jeff's.
It's all. There's Jeff. Yes.
Yeah.
I like Jeff's
That's right.
America.
It's weird.
That's
You guys wouldn't at least take a guess. I find that weird. You guys
Why?
are so. I don't know.
You know what? I'm
What are you
superstitious. I
protecting?
don't. No, I'm superstitious, dude.
Yeah, Jeff is
For me, it's
superstitious.
about-
Last time he joked about voting for Trump and it happened.
I know, dude. I know, and no.
Here's Jeff's map.
For me, it's about momentum. It's like if we create the idea that like Biden has it in the bag, who does that help but Trump?
Oh man, we don't have that much influence here.
You never know.
No.
Jeff. That's right. That's right. Listen, underneath the Biden presidency, the glorious Biden presidency, all Republican males will immediately be summoned to the gender reassignment centers, whereupon their dicks will be flattened, they'll be forced feminized, sterilized, if you will, and turned into brood mares for our glorious legion.
And then they
Super
can chant
soldiers.
And then they can chant Blair White Power.
All I was gonna do. All I was going to do was add up all the votes, all the electoral votes, and see whose percentage was the highest, like who got the most right.
Yeah.
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 But I think you just forfeited here, Jeff.
Nah, Jeff totally
dude,
got this.
I don't want to. I don't know. I don't bet like this.
We're not
I like to
betting.
bet,
There's no
but I don't
money.
like bet.
There's maybe possibly a shrimp po' boy.
Nobody's betting. This wasn't a
one
bet.
of us.
Yeah, for just for Asterios. That's what
Yeah.
a 12.5% chance somebody here gets a sandwich. It's decent odds.
I'm excited.
Oh my God, Jeff! Why am I not surprised you did all the blue?
Kiss my fucking ass. Fucking copium, dude. The fucking copium being huffed lately is so amazing. It's so incredible. I don't know who's gonna fucking win, and I'm not happy about voting for Joe fucking Biden. But I gotta be honest with you guys, just straight up, just for climate change, yeah, I have to vote Joe Biden. It's an actual existential fucking threat. It is. It's provable by science. It has been for decades.
We're gonna
Both
need
the
4
fucking
more
Republicans
years.
and
Jeff.
the Democrats and the Republicans both have
Jeff.
been dragging ass.
Jeff, if Trump was right and in like 2 weeks the vaccine comes out, are you going to take it?
As long as it's gone through all of the safety testing required for every vaccine, yeah, sure, why not? Fuck it.
What if the only way to take the vaccine was to suck it off of Trump's finger?
Which finger?
The middle.
Which finger?
The middle finger.
If you won't take
no,
it
he
that
cleans
way, you're
himself
an
with that
anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, you're an anti-vaxxer, anti-American. Suck it off Trump's finger.
Say goodbye to your guns? Shit, from my cold, dead hands, man. Don't you listen? All the fucking like piss baby right wingers that are like, oh, Antifa, the commies, and blah blah blah. You are aware that Marx is like horrendously pro-gun, and like by all means, like the government should be frustrated from being able to disarm the fucking public. I'm sorry, guys, but like,
I think you
you
Second
guys-
Amendment
you're
nuts are fucking pussies, okay? Because
Oh,
have you
I don't
seen the way that we have been armed in the military today? Your guns are nothing compared to what the military has. You should demand rocket launchers. You should demand fucking nuclear missiles. You guys are fucking pussyfooting. And as a matter of fact, all that's nothing. There's some fucking room in Russia that's buying Facebook ads and doing way more damage than your stupid fucking guns are. You guys are so backwards. A well-oiled militia has Facebook pages, and that's all they need to destroy a country. Free
militias are
Myanmar. I gotta piss and shit at the
I'm
same
not.
time. It's gonna be weird. I'll be right back.
Militias are cringe as fuck. Always have been. Yeah, I don't think Democrats are really going to take away guns either. I think they learned pretty quickly after the debacle of the assault weapons ban. They're not going to really try that again. So,
I mean, Trump's the guy that banned bump stocks, and Trump's the guy that said take the guns away first and arrest them later.
Yes,
Like,
he did.
if anyone's going to take away your guns, it's this crazy guy.
Absolutely. In fact, like what's the funniest part about the whole situation too, is Trump has passed more gun legislation than Barack Obama did.
Yes.
3 years versus 8 years. And in fact, like, and I kept trying to tell this to all my gun nut right wing friends. The candidate that was in the primaries that was the most pro gun was Bernie fucking Sanders. Sorry. Simple as that.
Yeah, I remember one time some guy that I knew was like, Obama wants to take away all your guns. And I'm like, no, he doesn't. And they're like, he wants to.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I
No, we
know.
don't.
Because I was like, name one thing that he's done to try to take guns away. Like even anything that indicates he was going to do that.
Yeah, no, not really anything. I think the only one that really said anything about it was Beto. And that's why Beto did not last very long. Like, he messed with guns, whoop, you're out. Every time.
The Proud Boys.
I mean...
The Po Boys.
I kind of get annoyed when they, like, the last debate, when they were like, will you denounce white supremacy? And then they bring up the Proud Boys. Like, the Proud Boys, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are a bunch of fucking white supremacist dudes in the Proud Boys, but
Sure.
the Proud Boys isn't a white supremacist organization. They'll stand next to a bunch of white supremacist organizations, but they themselves do not define themselves that way. So I got really fucking annoyed because it's really easy for them to come out and be like, we're not white supremacists, because they're not. Because technically they're not. They are kind of fashy, like, kinda. They're kind of fashy, a little bit. But you know, they're mostly just like a weird Chad bro gang.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They kind of dress like skinheads. And
Yeah,
not even
little bit.
necessarily the racist kind. Like skinheads, there's skinheads of all varieties, but the way they dress is very similar. All the different ones. Like the polo shirt. Like people used to wear the Perry polo shirts. Like skinheads in England in the 80s used to wear those.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Izod shirts too. Like there's a fuck ton of skins in Eugene and Portland, like in the late 90s, and they all rocked Izod polo shirts, the ones that had like the little alligator on the side.
Yeah.
And then it was very specifically a group of sharps here in Eugene that went out and they were dressed like oi boys wearing Izods, and they beat the shit out of all the neo-Nazis. It was stupid shit back in the day.
Yeah, like neo-Nazi skinheads would wear like red braces and red laces in their boots and shit like that. And some would literally wear like a Nazi armband. They weren't crypto about it at all. They like do those kind of Nazis deserve like more respect than the ones that hide and try to make it sound like they're not?
It's
at
so
least they're
fucking
honest
weird.
about it.
Yeah, I've said that to somebody who was like an open white nationalist. I'm like, dude, at least you're fucking honest. And if you're honest and like you're just like, yeah, dude, this is what I believe. Like I believe in this, I believe in that, I believe in a white homeland, blah blah blah. I'm like, I gotta at least have a little bit of respect for the fact that you'll tell the truth. I think your ideas are dog shit, but like whatever, man. Fucking at least you're not trying to hide it like some prick.
Yeah. I guess they'll just get their ass beat eventually.
Are we done giving bonus points to better than other Nazis yet?
No, hang on. No, okay, I'm done.
Okay. Goodness gracious, it's getting a little bit late.
Now
so,
we're gonna
I
do
want to get out of here in a sec.
Now we're gonna do the getting sued by Maddox segment.
Oh god. Oh god.
Worry about these segs in advance. Well, hey, look, it's 11 o'clock out here on the East Coast in the ghost town that is New York City, where, oh no, there are dividers in our restaurants, because it's not like diners already don't have dividers in them and booze and sections. God forbid we have a sectioned restaurant. But listeners, if you want to hear me not talk about politics, you listen to my other podcast, The Loudest Podcast, where we don't talk about politics because I find it stressful. Very soon, we will be launching a Cyberpunk 2013 pen and paper campaign podcast. We have an amazing producer, one of the guys that produced the Flophouse RPG podcasts. We got Joe Starr from, what is that thing called? From the Screen Junkies. He's the guy behind all your favorite honest trailers. He's our DM, and I will be playing a futuristic cybernetic PR man. And if you want to get in early, you subscribe to The Loudest Podcast right now. We will be launching episode 1 of our brand new Cyberpunk pen and paper RPG podcast the day Cyberpunk 2077 is released. So so get on board.
That's OG first edition Cyberpunk. That's fucking amazing, dude. Not even 2020, 2013.
No, these are the 2020 books I'm holding.
Oh, okay.
They don't sell the 2013 books. Like, you cannot legally buy them. They're selling them on eBay for hundreds of dollars.
Really?
I
still have my copies.
Oh, that's I'll buy them off you.
I'm good.
They're valuable as hell. Yeah, I just felt bad because it's like Mike Pondsmith, the guy that wrote the books, it's like I wanted to make sure he got some money, so I bought 2020. But we're playing V1 2013.
Wow, that's cool, dude. That's dope as fuck.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Have a good night, boys. See you later.
Good
Don't
night.
forget to vote.
Dang. Dang.
All right, low energy. Why am I dick pie? What did I do?
Dick pie.
Yeah, what's going on?
Way to go, dick pie. What does that mean?
I don't know. Sounds like a not so delicious treat.
I guess, yeah. Dang. I don't think I want to bite. I don't want a slice of dick pie.
Someone asked if I'm good at drums. I am not good at drums yet. I don't know if I mean, good is subjective, but no, I'm a beginner. I'm at beginner level right now.
Depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I once lived with a guy that had a full, big, nice drum kit, and he taught me some of the basics, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a really, really good feeling. I just wasn't really good at it. I don't really have a whole lot of musical talent, but it was cool. It's fun.
I don't have a whole lot of musical talent. And
We know.
I have much success in the music industry for somebody without musical talent. So if you guys have a little bit of musical talent, you could do just what I did.
We should start a band.
Yes.
We'll be like...
It
we'll be like,
drives
what was
my
that?
brain crazy the way that I have to separate all my limbs when I drum. It's a mind fuck at first. You have to train your brain and your limbs to respond the right way. It's crazy. Because at first I really wanted my right arm and my kick drum foot to do the same thing all the time, and I had to learn like when to hold back on one and let the other do like a double or something.
You know, a lot of people think Ringo Starr was the best drummer in the world because he was in the best band in the
No,
world.
no one thinks that.
He wasn't even the best drummer in the Beatles.
Right. He was no. No one thinks he's the best drummer in the world.
He was the best band in the world.
Yeah, but the band wasn't known for their like technical talent. It was known for like their catchy songwriting and that kind of stuff.
The Beatles are not the best
Are
band
the
in the
Beatles
world.
just Justin Bieber for our parents?
I mean,
Kind of. Sort of.
Love,
Sort of.
love me do.
Well, like we got to have like a British equivalent because there's a really specific reason why they got big, and part of that is because they were British.
Are they just Ed? What's his name? Ed Manchurian.
The Rolling Stones came out around the same time, and
Ed Hagar. What's his name?
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. Yeah. Is he just Ed Sheeran? Were the Beatles just Ed Sheeran for our parents?
Kind of, yeah, I guess so. I mean, well, and also keep in mind before Van Halen came out, before Led Zeppelin came out, or anything like that, more contemporary around the same time as the Beatles was the Beach Boys, and I'll argue all fucking day that ultimately, when it comes to every aspect of the craft of making music, the Beach Boys are far superior. Well, Brian Wilson was far superior than all four of the Beatles combined, hands down, easy, fucking easy, dude.
Yeah, I mean the Beach Boys wrote like surf rock pop music that was popular.
Only the first two albums, and then like
Brian Wilson, and then they started doing LSD. And
I've had
that's what
Kokomo.
Yeah,
I've had Kokomo stuck in my head for 30 years.
That was them making their comeback in the 80s.
For 30 years, I've had that stuck in my head.
It's never gone away.
I remember having it stuck in my head as a little child at a river when I was camping with my family. It was stuck in my head at the river, and it hasn't came out since.
Do you remember watching the video for that? And John Stamos is playing bongos in it.
Yeah,
Uncle Jesse, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is why the Beach Boys got clout. They worked with both Uncle Jesse, and Charles Manson. That's clout. Who'd the Beatles work with?
The thing is that Brian Wilson left the band, and he was the one that really did a lot for them. And there's a movie.
He's the one who did all of it.
There's a movie about him that's crazy about how his like therapist was his legal guardian, like his psychiatrist was his legal guardian.
Because he lost his mind. Do you know why he lost his mind?
I don't know for sure.
I have to take a secondary break. My stomach is on fire right now. I think it's something I ate.
There's spray in there.
I've been using it.
All right.
Everything's coming out solid for now.
It's a plug. It's plugging the river. It's the the dam that's holding back the river right now. There's gonna be a turd plug that pops out.
So Mickey the Honest Drunk says, if the Beach Boys came out with the Smile album as Brian wanted it in 1967, they would have destroyed the Beatles. So this is why Brian Wilson lost his mind. Brian Wilson started coming out with all this music with the Beach Boys very, very early, rock, surfy, happy kind of music, kind of like early Beatles were as well. So he'd come out with an album, and then like a few months later, the Beatles would come out with an album. Brian Wilson would listen to it, and he's like, holy fucking shit. These British people are so good at this. It's so amazing. It's like they're reading my fucking mind. And so he'd make another album and try and innovate to try and beat the Beatles. He was competing with them because he wanted to try and make the best music he possibly could. And it slowly started driving him insane. And then you add in the LSD and his like struggle to try and make the best album ever made, which Pet Sounds was a fucking fantastic album. He should have just stopped there. But here's the thing that's so fucking ironic. While he's losing his mind and he's slipping away in his sanity because he can't seem to beat the Beatles have always been on record that their main influence coming over from America was the fucking Beach Boys. They studied Brian Wilson's work and they were like, this is really fucking good. We got to do shit like this too. And then they would start to make their own music. And they were like honoring his music by making their music, and it was driving him crazy because he was competing. It's wild.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's crazy, dude. And that shit shaped music for it ever since. Like that weird one-sided competition that drove a brilliant man insane And then just the love of music from four dudes like shaped all of music and how it developed to today. It's crazy. Absolutely wild.
Oh, man. I miss food.
What the fuck does that mean? Are you on a diet?
Yeah, I've been on it for three weeks. It'll be 4 weeks this coming Wednesday. And I I've been at like 1,400 calories a day, and this is what I do. I wake up and I do 20 minutes of cardio, and then I lift weights, and then I eat. I don't eat anything until lunch. I have one meal a day, and it's lunch, and it's all fat. Like I'm on keto, so it's all fatty stuff and vegetables. And then before I go to bed, I run for 20 minutes again, and then do the weights again. Then I do that every day.
Wow, dude. You're getting pretty fucking serious about that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, good for you, dude. That's fucking great. I am not on a diet, but I've been dry since Saturday, and I already lost like 6 pounds.
Yeah, I've been dry ever since I started this.
Yeah. I mean, I got a drink on Saturday for the Passions Project, but that's like I'm just letting myself do that. And otherwise, I'm trying to ease myself into getting in better shape. But this coronavirus bullshit is
I haven't
rough.
been drinking in general though. Like
have.
My drinking was greatly reduced for months and months and months, and now I won't. At this point, it's not even like a glass of wine or one beer. Until I reach my goals and stuff. I think I've learned how to do everything in moderation. It's just you just got to train yourself.
Yeah. It's that's one of the main problems, especially when you're talking about like it's not like addiction because there's biological addiction, having a physical addiction, and then there's like pattern behavioral addictions and shit. And I think a lot of people that have shitty diets or they just drink too much don't necessarily have it as a biological component. It's just like
it's routine.
When you're sitting at your resting state and you're like, I don't have anything to do. My resting state is like, well, let's crack a beer.
Yeah.
And you just got to like retrain yourself. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I just want to drink.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You know what I've done? Like, this sounds crazy, but it works for me. Like, kombucha is my beer replacement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just sip on, and I can't have too much of it because it does have some sugar in it, so I can only have a little bit. That's the only thing with like, with any decent amount of carbs that I consume.
I mean, like, I kind of waffle back and forth between like, I'm such a fucking basic bitch these days, but like fucking sparkling water and tea, it's so boring. It's so boring. I just want to fucking start chugging whiskey right now. Oh my god. Oh well.
Yeah.
Wah.
No.
Yeah, well, whatever. I can go shooting first thing in the morning. That'll keep me occupied.
Someone in the chat said Onision drink. Is that what kombucha's known as now? Give me some of that Onision drink.
Onision.
So whenever Billy's done with his poop, I guess we'll end the show. I don't know.
Smoke weed. I did smoke weed. Was it last night? Yeah, I think I smoked weed last night. Yeah, I smoked weed last night.
Are you smoking weed more than you used to?
Wrecked. Huh?
Are you smoking weed more than you used to?
Kinda. Like, I'm smoking weed like maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that, which is way more than I used to. It used to be like maybe I'd try it once a year. Yeah, now it's like twice a month or something. And it's okay. It's all right, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I smoked a spliff last night, and just to kind of like temper it, because just a regular straight up joint will fucking knock my dick in the dirt. So smoked the spliff, and I was doing real good, real good, and I just took that one last hit I probably shouldn't have. I fucking flopped, useless. Just nah. I don't know, man. I just don't have a whole lot of luck with it.
There he is. There he is. He looks like someone who just gave birth. Is it a boy or a girl? Are we going to have a gender reveal party?
You better rehydrate.
The gender would be
turd.
Sludge.
Ugh.
It's sludge gender. So when I left, I was bragging about it being solid.
Was my prediction true?
It's not reached its final form, I imagine. I think that there's some evolution to this. We're about to leave
What did you eat?
Is your poo Pokemon evolving?
I had some Dick's burgers. I took the buns off and just ate the meat and stuff. I had some
How many Dick's burgers?
I had 2 deluxe burgers with no buns, and the cheese basically comes off on them too, so it was barely any cheese. I had this though, it was beef and cheddar bites, Jack Link's cold crafted. And then for breakfast I had some egg bites from Costco, but those are packaged and rather fresh as well. So I don't know.
So if your poo is evolving, is it turning from Magic Crap to Girard poo?
I dropped a Gyarados.
Gyarados? A Gyarados.
A Gyarados.
Yes. Magic Crap evolves into Gyarados.
Yeah, Magic
There
Crap
we go.
evolves into Gyarados easily. That's money right there, Jeff. Let's start a business. Let's make
Should.
parody Pokemon cards.
Dick's burgers are good.
Yeah, no, Joey wanted to go for lunch, and we brought some burgers back, and we had a little nice lunch at the table together. It was cute. And now my stomach is like, Papa.
I miss Joe.
Yeah, I get to see him.
He's
all the
gonna be
time.
on our private stream tomorrow.
Nice. I'll be busy. Mems is going off and having like this ladies' weekend with a bunch of her lady friends, so I'll be busy all weekend.
I had a ladies' weekend with a bunch of this lady's lady parts. It was nice.
Nice.
Good times.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was just thinking, since I'm doing some music and Billy's doing some music and you're a rapper, Billy, we could just like recreate Skindred, but with pasty white boys from the Pacific Northwest.
What's Skindred?
A bad band.
I have an idea. Let's
It's
make
like new metal plus hip hop.
Let's make a new Linkin Park.
Hey.
So insecure. We could our first album could be called Dog Whistle.
I was never a fan.
We can make a song where we use actual dog whistles in the beat, so the dogs go wild when it plays, but nobody
I bet
knows.
you were wearing eyeliner when you listened to Linkin Park, Ben.
I never listened to Linkin Park. I was never a fan.
Yeah,
I never liked that new metal.
I was
shit.
wearing Young Slut lipstick when I listened
I was
to
never
Linkin
into
Park.
new metal.
Me too. Hell yeah. Like
So
fucking chains.
insecure.
Chains hanging off, fucking everything, man. I had a black leather trench coat. Black #1 dye in the hair.
I was fat kid, so I usually wore hand-me-downs from my... I had a cousin in Ohio that lost a bunch of weight or died, I'm not sure, but they sent me boxes of his clothes because he used to be super fat. He probably lost a bunch of weight or died, but I got these boxes of like fat guy hand-me-downs, and I would wear
Nice.
those. It was not nice. It was like something a goober from Ohio would wear. It was I would
Was
wear
it
that shit.
was it Carhartt stuff?
No, not even. It was like look like shit you'd see the poor kids in India wear that get shipped over from here.
Really?
Yeah, it was some gross shit. And I'd wear it because I was
Wow.
like, I was poor. I don't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck, dude. I was wearing hand-me-down. I told everybody he probably died, and that's why I got them. But maybe he just lost weight. I never met the guy. They're just like, we're going to ship some clothes to Billy from, I don't know. I'm just going to say his name was Ledbetter. I'm sure that's not his name. Like, I'm 100% sure that's not his name. It doesn't even sound like what his name probably would be. But I just got Ledbetter's hand-me-downs.
All right. I think it's time that we wrap up this show And originally we said we were going to do our movie review today, but I don't believe we should do it tonight since we did the pre-show and all that stuff. We will do it on Tuesday.
And I texted Ben from the bathroom saying, if we do the movie tonight, I'm going to do it from the toilet.
No.
What movie are you guys reviewing?
The Trump Prophecy. Do you want to see the trailer?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
If you guys got a second, I want to. I don't know.
All
I've
right.
never heard of this.
All right.
Something takes a part of me.
Here it is.
My job as a fireman was to react calmly. You can't afford to have feelings about it. It'll get you killed. In my work, I've seen everything. But what I saw last night scared me so much.
Until recently, nobody knew what PTSD was.
Lord, I need you to heal him.
I'm done.
One man's journey to find healing.
It's a little scary. I have very graphic dreams. Sometimes I think it's God talking to me. Dreams are important. They can give us a window to what's going on inside. I got this one in 2011.
The Commander-in-Chief Prophecy?
I got this one in
Oh
2011.
my God. For our country, it's
7
leadership,
years after
and those
The
in
Simpsons
authority
predicted
over
it.
us. That's what we need to do.
They're going at him tooth and claw. What if I'm wrong?
If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, then will I hear from heaven and heal their land.
The Trump Prophecy. and the prophecy so reads, "Orange, you glad we didn't vote Obama?"
Right.
Hillary.
Yeah, Hillary.
Fuck,
My bad.
man. Wow. Wow. That looks so special, man. Man, I am jealous of you two. You get to watch that masterpiece.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it with pants off the entire time. I don't know about
Oh, you
Ben.
have to.
I'm about to go full Kevin Michael King or whatever his Kevin Joseph King.
Oh my God. Yeah, Jeff wasn't around when we were talking about that.
Oh, do you know
yeah.
Police Cop Chokehold guy, Jeff? Police Cop Chokehold?
Yeah.
He has a lot of videos on Pornhub. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like that?
I've only seen solo videos. I don't know if he's got a partner or not. But your boy goes far beyond what most lol cows have revealed for themselves. I don't think he's a lol cow. He's just an alpha Chad male.
Yes.
Alpha Chad male.
Oh, fuck me. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Okay,
I watched a 4-minute video of him shaking his bare ass and getting like within an inch of the camera with his butt crack and then pulling his dick out over the toilet like he's pretending to pee, but he doesn't pee. He just stands there like, look at me. Obese cock.
Got my dick out here.
Obese cock piss hole. Obese cock piss hole.
I need to see this. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think I searched Google Joseph or Kevin Joseph King and searched the videos tab, and I just got a plethora.
Someone needs to capture the look on Jeff's face when I told him that. I need the screenshot of that.
I mean, oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. All right. He's throwing black power. He doesn't take his close. Okay. Fun Kevin 628. All right. Wow. Where are you? I don't see him fucking throwing his ass around, man. I don't see it.
There is one.
Oh no. Oh no. My nude photo. This my nude photo. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my God. He's got huge boobs.
Yeah, he's caking, if I'm not mistaken. Now
He's caking. He looks like. Oh man. Wow.
is this the one of him in the bathroom?
All right.
No. Here, let me click on see all.
Should we talk about this now?
Yeah. Everybody watching, feel free to follow me on twitch.tv/BillyTheFridge. I game on there sometimes. Jeff, I want to personally thank you for hanging out and now burning this image into your face, which Ben brought up to me today and burned it in my face. And
it's spreading like a disease.
It's spreading.
I do see your butt. I see your butt. Y'all see my butt? I see your butt, dude.
It's spreading like Kevin Joseph King's butt.
All
it's
right.
so close to the camera. Y'all see my butt?
All right. Good night, everybody. Good night.
That's the best thing ever. Holy shit.
In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. From the strangest corners of the internet, gonna get TP'd by Billy and Ben. You know where you can find them at. Get ready, cause they're gonna kick your... Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants.